What is up, party people? We are here now with one of my favorite people in the entire world, Kat Ellis. She is a content creator, sports broadcaster, podcast host. She kind of does it all. I actually have a really funny story for you. I feel like whenever I go to bars, your name comes up so much because, like, you know, when you go to the bar and like you search someone on Instagram and you're like, oh my God, we have all of these mutuals. You're always a mutual to pop up. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, Kat? And they're like, I actually follow her on TikTok.
Oh my God, what an introduction, first of all. Second of all, I'm honored because I don't really go out in Boston anymore. So the fact that I'm still leaving my mark makes me so happy that I'm like, oh, if I move back there, I'll be able to make friends at the bar easily. That's great. That's so funny.
I feel like everywhere I go, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I follow her on TikTok. But you did go to BU. So like, of course you left your mark here.
Yeah, good. That makes me feel good. Thank you.
Okay, so I speaking of TikTok, I think that my favorite thing about you is that you have kind of found a way to merge like women and women liking sports into like one unique place on the internet. So I kind of want to talk about, I know how you got into sports, but our listeners don't. So I kind of want to talk about how you got into this industry and kind of where you wound up now with the space you are across the internet.
Mm-hmm. So, wow, it's been quite the journey. I would say I definitely got dragged into sports just because I had an older brother who played a lot of sports and an older sister who did a lot of the girly sports. And then I was like the third child that was the mix of both. And yeah, like my dad was like, I'm his second son. And my mom's like, no, you're my second daughter. So we're going to split you in half and you're going to do it all. So I did all like the girly cheerleading, dance, acting, theater. And then I also did softball and hockey. I tried soccer when I was little, wasn't good, was on like the green grasshoppers, scored in my net. And then I was like, I'm done with soccer. So we stayed with hockey. Yeah, I kept doing hockey and cheerleading were like my main two. And I was the first girl from my high school to ever do cheerleading in the fall and hockey in the winter, which I feel like just sums up my personality to a T. And then like my softball team, I would like make my team bows. Like that's just like so me. But I still have that like super tomboy side. So Dad played college hockey at Boston College. He was a goalie. And then my brother played hockey at Harvard. He was a captain and a forward. And then when I got to college, I knew I wanted to do like sports media just because I love sports. And I'm like, what better job is there really? And I got involved with the Boston University men's ice hockey team first. That was like my first real like time working with a team. I did sports media internships with like NBC Sports and Boston 25 Sports. Nesson's actually funny. I got hired and then the pandemic happened. So I actually never worked a day at Nesson, but I'm like, I got hired. Ooh. So like, I'm like, can it go on my resume or no? Because they gave it to me. I signed it and then it was just over.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of like getting like ghosted on a dating app, I guess. But yeah, then my first time working for a team was the BU men's ice hockey team where I was the manager for a year. And then I was the team reporter, ringside reporter for 2 years after that. And then graduated from college, worked at Barstool Sports like this past year. And now I'm just freelancing, working independently, kind of trying to figure out what's next.
So you said, I didn't realize you were the BU hockey reporter for 2 years. I'm a big BU hockey fan. What was that whole experience like? I feel like that's so fun.
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. So it's funny because I had like two completely different experiences from being the manager and being a reporter. When you're the manager, you are literally a member of the team. Like you are at everything. I was the first one to the practices, the last one to leave, every single team meal, team bonding event. Like we went to an escape room like my first week. Yep, I got sent in an escape room with a bunch of the boys. We didn't get out, of course. Yeah, we went to Ireland for Thanksgiving. I literally I started working for them in October, and then Thanksgiving, they're like, oh yeah, you're going to go across the pond with 40 people you barely know. I'm like, okay, great.
Across the pond.
Like, yes, like who needs my family for Thanksgiving, right? Like new fam. It's so funny because I remember like on that trip I was handing out team meals and like the coaches were like, oh, they have everyone's name on it. And I'm like, that doesn't help me because I don't know one of the guys. Like they were all strangers. But then we ended up like getting super close, and I got to go all the practices, all the games, travel with them everywhere, which was like such a good way to get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
And then becoming the rinkside reporter, I definitely like got to reel it back and kind of get a life again, which was cool. Because I only really worked home games and then like a couple of special event away games and then like the women's bean pot. So that was definitely way like lower maintenance than managing. Mm-hmm. So that was the perfect like shift from my first year at BU to like the last ones when you just kind of want to like have fun and enjoy yourself. It was like the perfect role. Yeah. But it was, I had some moments where I started to get FOMO and like I wasn't going on the trips with them and the new manager was. And I was like, aw, like I kind of wish that was me. But then I was like, no, because now I can like have a Saturday night with the girls. So it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to call you out on some bullshit for a second because you left out the best part of that entire story. And we have like a younger audience. And I think that so many of them are starting to like work in sports and kind of pave their way the same way we did. You failed to mention that you found the love of your fucking life doing this. So, how's Jake? I need to know how you guys, like, how did you go from equipment manager to girlfriend?
I just like, it's so funny because I could not talk about it for so long. So now that it's the best thing ever. Like, you know, when people are always like, I have exciting things coming, but I can't tell you about it.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite where I'm like, you guys, I have tea, but I can't tell you about it until like, an appropriate amount of time has passed. Yeah, when you're the manager, you're obviously like staying in hotels with the guys and stuff. So like my first day I got set down, it's like no fraternizing with the players. I'm like, okay, great. Woo! In 1 year, out the other. But I like, you know, they were like my, like literally all my best friends. And the funny thing with Jake is we were both like it was both of our first years at BU, and he got hurt like, I think it was like 5 games into the season. He got hurt and had a season-ending injury. And we got to know each other like more than anybody else because he was like me where he went to the practices and then just sat and watched them because he couldn't do anything. And then like we'd be on the bus going to away games. And all the guys would be like warming up for hours before the game. And we would just be sitting in the training room, like eating the granola bars and the berries. Like the game. So like we actually just became like best friends, which is like, it's so cute to say. Like we literally were best friends because we spent the most time together. And then once the season ended, we started dating, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to quit. Like I can't be the manager anymore. Now I'm breaking the rules. So I resigned from managing, and then
you pulled a Camille Kostick, bitch.
You know, it's so funny too because literally right after we started dating, I met Camille and like did a job with Camille, and I was telling her the same thing because I'd heard the whole story about her and Rob Gronkowski, and I was like, wow, this is literally us where like we weren't allowed to date, and then like now we're like soulmates because you always want what you can't have.
It's true. So how did the team find out?
I could like swear on the universe, the only fight Jake and I have ever had, I thought the team didn't know, and he told me that
you idiot,
but they didn't. Well, I thought we were so good at hiding it. Like if we were all out at a bar, like I would take one Uber home and he would take another. And then he had like this fake girl. He would like tell his roommate he was sleeping at this other girl's place. And then he would like come to my room after. Yeah. I actually thought like we did a good job hiding it because I like instilled it in his head. I'm like, you're just as guilty as me. Like if I go down, you're coming to me, like you're going to get in trouble.
That is awesome.
So it's actually funny because he just can't lie. He's such an honest person and just the sweetest person ever. So like guys would make comments to him and be like, oh, like you and Kat are really friendly. And he would be like, no, we're not. But he couldn't lie. So like they knew. So it's like he never told them, but they just knew. So funny enough, they have their end of the year rookie party, which every team has.
Yep.
Mhm.
And
I have attended a few of those.
oh my God, I'm dead. Oh, they don't let girls go to this one.
Oh, well, girls weren't allowed at ours, but your bitch was there.
I'm dead. So they had the end of the year rookie party, and I guess there's a part of the party where there's like towards like the end of the night where there's just a bunch of shots, and it's like the seniors will be like, if you do this, take a shot. If you do this, take a shot. And one of the seniors said, if you have a girlfriend, take a shot. And Jake just like not thinking about it, like took one of the shots. And then all the boys were looking at him like, what? And then one of the boys said, if you're dating the manager, take a shot. And he did. And then everyone was like, whoa. And then but then they all came up to me that night and were like two of them were literally like, Kat, like if you were dating anyone else, like I'd kick your ass, but like Jake's the best guy ever. So like I'm here for it. So, yeah. So then it was really fun because then when I became the ringside reporter, there wasn't like a rule I was breaking. It wasn't a rule anymore. So like it just worked. But it was definitely harder to do ringside reporting, like with him being the person I was interviewing.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I did get lucky. I did find my soulmate in through the job.
Okay.
That's
so
like the most wholesome moment we've had on here.
That is the most wholesome moment we have ever had. I have one more question because I think she has a question for you too, but I just don't want to get off of this topic really quick. You said that your dad was a goalie at BC and you were doing, not only did you go to BU, but you worked hockey at BU. So I need to know what that conversation was kind of like.
Okay. I'm like the biggest advocate for people who are like diehards for one team and can never switch over. I'm like, yes, you can. Because my dad was the world's biggest BC hockey fan and then had to pivot for my brother to go play Harvard. And then I'm like, oh, Dad, like, by the way, I'm going to BU and I'm going to work for BU's team. He has a eagle tattoo on his arm, like a huge ass BC eagle tattoo on his arm. Yet, after I worked for the team for a year, he showed up to the BC alumni golf tournament with a big old terrier car decal on the back of his car. So now I'm like, anybody can switch the team that they're rooting for love. Anybody.
I don't know. I'm from the South and I know that like hockey up here is like football to us. Like when I try to describe like the Hockey East to people at home, I'm like, it's literally like SEC football. So the fact that your dad was just like, so yeah, these are my kids and this is what they're doing is like, as someone who has like #daddy issues, like that is like a daydream for me.
He's just the best. And like literally at the end of this season, like we've had the guys on the team over my house so much. Like my dad literally, like we had like a bonfire, we had a pool party for a bunch of the guys. My dad was like, I ever told my old teammates I was having a bunch of terriers over my house, like I would get scolded. So yeah, when people are diehards for a team and say they can't switch over, I'm like, if my dad made the switch, anybody can make the switch. There was definitely some bickering. And it's funny now because like when the bean pot happens, we literally don't even know who to root for. Like all three of us are like rooting for different teams, but it is.
I think you should get an Ellis Wise, like one of those like half like jersey things. And just rock one of those.
Imagine me showing up to the bean pot with an Ellis jersey and some of it's BC, some of it's BU, and some of it's Harvard. Like I've seen the 2-part jerseys. I've never seen a 3-parter before.
I mean, I'm sure we can figure something out. Like people are creative, but like, oh my God.
And then I'll family runs deep. I'll put a Northeastern hat on just to throw everyone off.
Yeah. Just to balance it all out. Kind of on like, it doesn't have to be in working for BU. Do you have like a favorite career moment that you've had, or even moments, just anything that's like something you remember and look back on fondly?
One of the coolest moments for sure was when I was with Boston 25 Sports and they sent me to a Patriots game. And I was
Ooh.
on the sideline for warm-ups, just literally right next to Julian Edelman and Tom Brady. And then come to find out, it actually ended up being Tom Brady's last game at Gillette Stadium as a Patriot.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. And I obviously I had no idea at the time, but just like, they're the GOATs. Everyone from New England knows, like, those are like the coolest people
Mm-hmm.
to be around. Gronk wasn't there at the time, but like those three are like my big three in sports. And they were just jogging right past me to go into the locker room. And then I actually had a full media press pass. So I was in the locker room after the game. And the way the Patriots press is set up is like after the game, they'll go into a locker room and grab a couple guys. And then they have the full press conference room that's right across the hall. So I was in the locker room doing the interviews. And then they were like, oh, Belichick's going to the stands. Like, you got to run over to the other room. I had no idea what I was doing. And I was like, okay. So I go over to the other room. But then he's talking and everyone's listening. And I'm like, oh, I can't go take a seat. So I'm just standing in front of the door. None other than Mr. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. opens the door right behind me. And I just feel someone like right here. And I literally turn and I feel like I heard those angels when you die that are like, and I was like, oh my God, I'm in Tom Brady's way. Like, I'm fully in Tom Brady's way. It was the most horrific, but the greatest moment of my entire life. And I just, like, stepped to the side, so anticlimactic, but that was probably the coolest moment of my life.
Daddy,
Like,
I'm sorry. Daddy. That is,
I would think about that every day of my life.
Oh,
every day.
I still do. I have goosebumps just about it. Yeah.
He checked me out one time and I like still think about it every single day of my life.
So I tell myself that Julian winked at me. Like, I just tell myself that. It didn't happen, but like, it gives me that self-confidence boost that
Luckily mine's on video, so I can just watch it back over and over and over again.
Oh my God, that's so funny. That's probably my peak though.
Oh yeah, totally. With highs obviously come some lows. I know I mentioned that we kind of do have a younger audience as far as women go. And I think that people are quick to kind of not want to talk about the hardest moments for them, but I think the hardest moments in my career are the things that I look back at and I learn the most from. I want to know what you think like your biggest struggle that you faced in the industry is, and kind of your like biggest piece of advice as far as getting through those harder moments for maybe like a younger girl or a younger you. Like, who would you want that younger you to be and learn from those mistakes or moments that you've made?
That's such a good question. I'm so glad you asked that, because I feel like it's so, especially now with like TikTok and all the socials, like it's so glamorized being a woman in sports media and sports broadcasting. And so many young girls are like, oh my God, that's the dream job, to be on the football field while the game's going on with all of the football players and like be that one person that's doing a hit. And it sounds like the greatest thing ever. And I feel like nobody ever was like, oh, by the way, with all these roses come 1,000 more thorns. No one ever told me that. So I think like when I got my first thorn, I was so taken back. Like, oh, like it was like my first like bump in the road was almost enough for me to be like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I would say something I've personally struggled with a lot is having bosses who are very old fashioned and not open to new ideas, which is very frustrating to me, because I think our generation especially is like light years ahead of people who are like 50, 60 years old who have been in the industry for so long. Like they don't understand the shift that's happening from like traditional media into social media. Like I remember I was trying so hard to make a TikTok account for the hockey team. And I was told, we don't know what the future of TikTok is. And I'm like, now
TikTok is the future.
Literally. And I'm like, now look at the hockey guys. I don't even know what division they are. I think they might have been a club.
I think they're D3.
They're either D3 or like a club team. And I'm like, they're getting.
Are they Lake Superior?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're Lake Superior.
They just got invited to like the Chicago Blackhawks locker room. They're meeting so many celebrities. And I'm like, imagine if we did this with your D1 national team. But you know, what do us kids know? But definitely like I feel like the longer people have been there, the less open they are to new and fresh ideas, which is frustrating to me. And especially now coming out of college, finding like entry level jobs, like so many jobs require like 5 to 10 years of experience in this industry. But I'm like, I know more about TikTok than someone 10 years older than me right now. Like I know that for a fact. So that's something hard. I don't really know a solution other than like a lot of people that I think are handling it well are the people that are just doing stuff on their own and making their own content and kind of just doing like independently and maybe not making money off of it, what they want to be doing with a company or a network in the future to be making a career off of it. Like, I think if no one's ever done anything and there's like no blueprint for it to go and make your own blueprint, it's scary and it's hard and you'll probably get rejected a lot. But like, if you come up with something nobody else has done, there's going to be a point where like, that's the Mount Everest of what everybody's trying to do.
Yeah, totally. I think that like that kind of falls into my next question. Obviously you said that you're kind of freelancing and learning a little bit now, like what you think you want to do or your next steps. What do you think your next steps are going to be, or what would your dream job be? Like, I know in the last year you've learned, like, I mean, just through personal conversations with you, I know you've learned a lot about yourself. You've grown a lot. You've had a lot of highs and lows. So taking where you are now, where do you want to see yourself a year from now?
My thing is like, I really don't see anymore with like the experiences I've had. I feel like what kind of exists right now for job positions, like nothing really excites me personally. I just see so many opportunities with like new media and social media collabs that you can do in the sports industry. Like, for example, I think it's super cool that like Josh Richards, huge TikToker, has just blown up, become this huge mega like personality and celebrity, is like a social face of the NHL now. Like something like that. I love the idea of in-person interaction. Like when, especially like Stanley Cup playoffs, when they do like parties and stuff and have events and we'll have event hosts. Like I love the idea of that. I would love to just be like more of a social personality as opposed to like a more traditional role. I think it just like fits me better because I have quite the personality here. I'm like, I've now that I've gotten to like express myself fully, I'm like, I think I was putting myself in a box with where I was before, that like I want to break down the box and just like create this whole new wave of funny stuff.
Love that.
Thank you. But who knows? Like, that's the thing, is there's not a position that I'm like, that's the job I want in a year, which I think is exciting because I think we're just in like a breakthrough time of social media and sports and like the collaboration between the two. So I think it's cool to think that like I could invent a new role that doesn't exist. And then it's like, boom, every single team needs a girl doing this. And I'm like, heck yeah, ladies, let's go.
So sticking kind of to the theme of sports and hockey, we do want to ask if you have any predictions for the NHL playoffs or Frozen Four. Any thoughts, predictions?
I have to say, I feel like I've been following college hockey more than the NHL this year.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay, a couple of things with the Frozen Four. I have a couple of funny takes. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen, like, I was hot against Michigan early this year.
I remember this.
It's for good reasons. It's
Jake,
because I love an underdog. I really do. And like when everybody's hyping up one team, I'm like suddenly so uninterested in them. Like, I've never watched a full basketball game. I was the Peacock's biggest fan these last couple of weeks. Like, National Peacock Day, I was like, hell yes. So I was heavy against Michigan early on. And my take on that was just, when I worked for VU, I think we had the most draft picks out of any college hockey team in the US, if not like top 2, top 3.
Yeah. Yes. I wrote a story about this.
And like our first year did not have a good year. I think they were below 500. And it's just like sometimes when you get so much individually talented players. Like they don't connect well. And I think especially with college hockey, how like players are usually drafted going into freshman year, everyone's just trying to be like the superstar so that they can sign early and go to the NHL. That sometimes like they don't care about making like a tic-tac-toe goal play happen. They're just like, I'm just going to go on a breakaway and dangle snipe Selly. So I didn't think Michigan was going to have good team charisma. They have proved me wrong, and I want to congratulate them. I'm very impressed with how they've done it, and good for them. But I still don't think they're going to win. I think they're going to make it to the finals. What are the matchups? What's the semifinal matchups?
So I think that if I'm not mistaken, they play Denver.
Yeah, so they play DU, and then it's Minnesota
State.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's Western Michigan and Minnesota, and is it right? No, it's Minnesota State. You're right. It's Minnesota State. Yes.
Okay, so Minnesota State, Minnesota. That's the game I go to, hands down. Like that arena is gonna be up.
Yep.
Minnesota State was the first college hockey game I ever worked. I went to Mankato with BU. This is actually the first time Jake and I talked was at this game, but they were so good, like blew me away. And I think they've just been consistently good since then. I know that for Ohio State this year, Minnesota blew them out of the water. They didn't get to play Minnesota State, but Minnesota was the hardest team that Ohio State had to play this whole year. Like
they have so much talent come out of there consistently.
I just think they are like the beast. Like they are like Goliath. And
always.
I think Michigan's beatable. So if it was a Michigan-Minnesota final, I would have Minnesota. I think Michigan has the upper hand by 1 in when they've met this season, but I feel like Minnesota State is going to beat Minnesota. And I don't know anything about Denver, honestly, so I can't give my take on that. But like a Michigan-Minnesota State final, I do think Minnesota State would probably take it.
Spicy. I like it.
I also just like don't want to be a basic bitch and be like, go blue. Also, I've been an Ohio State fan the whole year, so like I cannot say Michigan's gonna win.
Yeah,
like, that's just cursing Ohio State the next 10 years.
That's what I was gonna say. I thought that you were saying Michigan because of Jake, but you had a spicy take.
I did. The Michigan boys were like in my DMs chirping me because I was so anti-Michigan. I didn't like how they didn't play one of their games this year because they didn't have players because of World Juniors. I completely disagreed with that.
Yeah,
but
obviously.
It's in the past. Clearly, it worked out for them because they're going to the Frozen Four. So that's noted that if you're ever playing a team that intimidates you a little, just don't play.
And all of us are still trying to figure out how we can get into the Frozen Four.
I know. Like anybody out there listening who wants 3 fun sporty girls to spice up the arena, we don't have plans that day.
And we're hot. Help us.
I will get the crowd I will win. If someone gets me into the game, I will bet my life savings I will win fan of the game that night. Doesn't matter the game. Doesn't matter the game. I will win fan tonight.
Kat Ellis, certified life of the party. Speaking of life of the party, my last question for you, I think that this is our last question for you in general. We ask this to everyone. Gun to your head. You have to drink 1 seltzer the rest of your life because we are a seltzer podcast. What is your go-to seltzy?
I guess a White Claw Black Cherry.
Why?
I don't know. Is that a wrong answer?
There's no wrong answer.
No,
I'm just like, that is
the first time we ever got straight up like, okay, White Claw, Black Cherry. Also just like Black Cherry in general. I feel like it's a lot of hate. So.
Yeah. Kat Ellis is really throwing bangers out here today.
I just root for the underdogs. What can I say?
The underdog that is like the most classic of seltzers to ever seltzer.
Okay, so now we have a new proposal at White Claw. Send me to the garden for the Frozen 4, and I will get you the best promos of your life.
I'm going to clip that and actually tag them.
Tag them.
I'm going to send us to the Frozen 4. You
I'll
won't
get
regret
big
it.
one, like the bigger than my head.
I think that we could honestly put them down pretty easy. We could drink multiple of those.
I mean, I'm a lightweight, but I'll do it for a ticket.
Do it for the vine. Do it for the vine.
Exactly.
Okay, Kat, you are still one of my favorite people in the whole world. I can't thank you enough for joining us today. This was one of my favorite interviews so far, honestly. So thank you. We love you so much. Come back anytime.
Stop gassing me up. Oh my God. Girls, manifest it. We're going to get into that game. I promise.
We are getting into that game.
So much for having me. This was so fun.
We love you. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.
What is up, party people? Welcome back to Saturdays and Seltzers. My name is Kendra Middleton, and I am joined by my co-host, Sarah Griffin. Sarah, how are we?
Living the dream. Living the dream.
Living the motherfucking dream, baby. We just got off the phone with our guest this week, Kat Ellis. So stay tuned for that. Honestly, one of my favorite interviews we have done so far. But with that being said, I am sufficiently hammered already. So I think we should start off with our Smash or Pass. I think that we're both drinking the usual, TBH.
Yeah, mine's still Smash, but still send me shit.
Tequila. We have tea. We have tea. Sarah, tell me.
Okay. So I tweeted at them, then Kendra reposted my tweet to our Instagram story, tagged them. They liked it, and then we're like, oh, like, what's your email? So we gave them the SaturdaysNSeltzers email. Nothing. Crickets.
It's been a week.
Crickets. And I'm like, I'm sorry. The only time I see anyone talk about your product is when your ad is promoted on my Twitter every single day. Other than that, it's just me. I went through and I honest to God name search. It's just me.
It's weird because they have so many followers. Yes. Like 50K on Twitter. What? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I looked this up the other day. Go fact check me, but I clicked on their Twitter or their Instagram the other day and they had like a dick ton of followers.
See, the tequila, the Cazadores like Twitter just has 864.
Oh, see, I could have, wait, what did I look at? Because I swear there was one platform where I was like, they have that many fucking followers and they're not responding to us. We love you. I think that this is where Tyler needs to play. Like, is it Akon that sings I Want to Love You?
Okay, on Instagram, they have like 24K.
Okay, all right. That's, we have more than that combined.
What are than that? Like, come on.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Okay, what the heck? I'm drinking.
Much.
We honestly, no, we don't even ask for much. We literally don't ask for shit.
Oh.
Like ever. We go on vacation to Buffalo and Philadelphia. We don't ask for shit. I'm drinking. Okay, I think you know what? I'm going to say it. I don't care that you broke your elbow. But no, I'm gonna say it. I think that this I'm drinking Fruit Smash. Shocker. I'm drinking the super hard seltzer, the cherry one. Mm-hmm. I think that these are better than the regular ones.
Is the cherry one good? I feel like I would like that one.
Yeah, the cherry one's bussin'. So we tried these together.
We did?
Yeah.
When
you came to stay the night for something, we tried the supercharged pack together. Oh,
I think before the bean pot.
Yes, bean pot. Yes, we tried these, and I think that this was the best one because this is the can we liked the least, but it was the best flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these do be bussin'. They're 8%, a little high on the caloric side, but like 8%, I'll take it. Like it's like kind of like almost 2 and 12 ounces. So like you know what, fuck it, we ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we're drinking tonight. Obviously, we are an alcohol show, but mostly sports. If you are new here, we do a segment every week called am I hammered? I don't know. Every week called HLH, which is our high, our low, and our hero of the week. So our high of the week, our low of the week, and our unexpected good thing that happened to us. Sarah, what is your HLH?
Okay, so honestly, I did mine, and then I saw both your highs. I'm like, how the fuck did I not think of either of these things? But so my high is I signed a lease for an apartment.
Yeah, Bostonian Sarah, welcome to the club, baby.
I know. I'm like, I don't have to worry about driving in and out anymore. And as the biggest hater of driving, this is huge.
I already looked up the T. Okay, I'm gonna be creepy for a second. I'm gonna be so creepy for a second.
Do it.
Sarah sent me her address the other day, and I prematurely looked up the public transportation options to get to Sarah. It's like a 43-minute T ride. So our tea party segment should just be me on the T.
Yeah.
Or you on the T.
I was just going back and forth to each other.
Yes, literally, because that's what's gonna happen. I feel like we're just, we're not just podcast hosts, we're real life friends. So yeah.
No, people forget we do.
We are friends. Okay, what's your low?
My low, this is like a long-winded story, but I want to keep it concise here. So I went out Tuesday night since I was like, oh, this is my Saturday, whatever. I dragged poor Jordan out.
I saw.
Dragging out people.
You should have called me. I was off.
I know. I thought that after. I'm like torturing people with 9 to 5 to come hang out.
And then there's people who work in sports who don't live real life.
So we went out and I was not paying to go to the Bruins game. Fuck that. My sister went. She had a good time even though they lost, but I was like, I'm not paying for that. So we just drank around the garden and we met these boys. And first of all, I would just like to say, before I talk to this boy, there is a man. I don't think he will ever listen to this, but if he's out there, he went to the Harp with his men's league team after they went to the game.
Men's league what? Men's league what?
Men's league hockey.
Okay, never mind. Because my low is also about a boy who's in a men's league, but it's rugby. I was about to be like, this motherfucker.
No, this man, I don't know what it is that he does, whatever. He's just like, no, like, I'm in a men's league team, like, this is embarrassing. I was like, no, good for you.
Go off,
kid.
kid.
You're just shooting the shit. And then I was like, okay, I'm not here to do this stuff. So I was like, all right, moving on. And then these boys came up to me and Jordan, and I don't want to name names, but apparently there's a rugby team here in Massachusetts.
Yep.
Yeah.
God damn it. We didn't even talk about this ahead of time.
I know we should have talked about this because I was like, I don't know who to talk to this about. But this boy is on that team and he's from New Zealand and I don't know how many of them there are from there. So I might have just given away, like, I don't know.
Sarah, did we kiss the same boy this weekend? Wait, no, mine was Irish. Never mind.
Okay. This one wasn't even bad. It was the one talking to Jordan, like, ended up, like, being, like, he was, like, oh, like, talking to her, like, sweet talking to her, all this stuff. Goes to request her on Instagram. Girlfriend in his picture. Hello? And so they're supposed to go to the Celtics together the next day. She's like, fuck you, like, no. And then his friend texted me that I was talking to. He's like, oh, like, are we still gonna hang out, like, on Friday? I was like, honestly, no. And he's like, why? I was like, my friend and your friend. He goes, what about them? Like, I think you know what the issue is. He goes, yeah. But then I'm driving home from Jordan's yesterday, or driving to school, and he starts calling me. What the fuck are you? So, long story short, New Zealand boys, not it.
Not bussin'. Certified not bussin'. New Zealand, not bussin'.
And I don't know anything about this rugby team. I know I follow it now on Instagram. I should probably go unfollow it. But I hope they lose.
Me too. I hope that, honestly, they all catch COVID and lose everything. Does that mean? I don't really care.
I hope your season.
Rugby boy's girlfriend, if you're listening to this, dump his ass.
You can do so much better because what the fuck?
Fuck no, baby.
But yeah, that was. Oh, and then after that, we go to a different bar, and this guy comes up to me. He goes, "Oh, you guys," or comes up to me and Jordan. He goes, "Oh, you guys are just the Harp, right?" And he was talking to Jordan first when we were at the Harp. And he goes, "No, I'm gonna talk to the blonde bitch now." He's like, "I'm going for eyes. I was like, we can hear you.
Are people fucking dumb?
I don't know.
Also, like, if you're trying, okay, I'm putting my pen down. First of all, if you're trying to hook up with someone, cool. Second of all, the best way he described you was, I'm trying to talk to the blonde bitch now. And third of all, if you said it loud enough for someone to hear it, let alone you thought that, what the fuck?
It was insanity. And I'm not confrontational, but Jordan was like, what the fuck did you just say? Like, blah, 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 going on.
You are, I understand why you did not call me now, because you know that I would have had that man on the floor in a fucking full Nelson in public. Truly.
Literally, though, it would have been
truly
a scene.
I honestly, I'm glad that you did not call me, because that would have happened.
So yeah, low once again is men, and there's that guy on Twitter who apparently I'm boy crazy, so I'm so sorry about this.
We are all boy crazy. Shut the fuck up.
But yeah, men ain't it for like the, what is this, our 34th episode? 34th week in a row. Men ain't it.
Okay. Hero
is just the Red Sox season. I'm excited about that. I'm finally starting to get hyped up now that we're getting all the spring training content. And that we actually know there is going to be a season and there's light at the end of the tunnel. I'm excited for that. So that's my hero.
Cool. My HLH this week, I just got a text message from Mallory Soloris. A little preview of next week. Boston Pride captain, two-time champion, Mallory Soloris.
Absolute queen.
Coming on SNS next week. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna change my high. It's funny that she sent this just now, because my high, actually, I have two. One of them is the Boston Pride. They won the Izzy for the second year in a row. But that is obviously a high. But my real high was Mallory FaceTiming me on the ice with the net in her hand. And I have pictures of Mallory dumping her seltzer on her face on FaceTime, and she just kept screaming, "SaturdaysNSeltzers, this is for you." Literally, this is Mallory. So that's my high. Mallory hopefully will be on the show next week. She just texted me back that she wants to come talk shit with us next week. So stay tuned for that if you are a Boston Pride fan. My other high is Harry Styles' new album. I cannot wait for King Harry to tell me what I am feeling, because we all know that that's about to, it's what's good. Although I feel like a lot of it's going to be about his new girlfriend and like how happy they are. And I'm going to want to like rip my heart out and like, whatever, but like still.
I was like, that's not it.
Yeah.
I will still go with it for him.
Okay. So my low this week, and we all know that I am a born again virgin. I have not had sex in over 6 months. The last person I kissed was my friend Chrissy at her birthday in January. And before that, I believe it was the last time I kissed someone was November. Like, I'm not interested. It's not that I'm like asexual or anything. Like, I think we've been through that on this show before. I just have zero interest in being with anyone right now. Like, I'm very into myself, like into my career, what I'm doing, what I'm working on. I don't want anybody to get in the way of that. But I did get hammered this weekend. And I went out with a bunch of my friends. We were supposed to go see my friend Matt at Royale. And Royale wouldn't let me in because I was wearing sneakers. They were brand new, worn once, Air Maxes. And they wouldn't let me in because I was a girl in sneakers. I was like, I'm gay AF. Like, let me in.
I hate the dress code.
Dude, I was in a nice outfit. I was in a jersey with glitter, disco ball earrings, leather pants. Like, the whole nine. I was just in Air Maxes because, your girl's kind of, a little not straight vibes sometimes. So I was like, I'm trying to, whatever, fuck it. And so we wound up not going there and meeting some of my other friends over at Fenway. I went to get into Lansdowne, and I'm hammered. Like, I will be the first person to tell you that I did not eat enough that day. And my friend's boyfriend was in town, and he like kept buying us shots and whatever. And I was like, you know, vibing with my friends, and this Irish boy, like Irish rugby, BC, of course, BC rugby, Irish boy comes up and like, he's like talking to me, whatever, it's fine. And then he kissed me. And I like turned around to say something to my friend, and it's like, I didn't want to kiss this boy. Like, he's cool, whatever. But like, you know, fucking a drunk makeout, whatever. It's not like there were any feelings or anything. Like, it just happens.
Yeah. And
this dude kissed me, and we were talking for like 10 minutes. I turned around to say something to Chrissy, and I turn around and he's fucking gone. I got Irish goodbye by an Irishman.
What the hell?
I got fucking Irish goodbye by an Irishman. And the best part about it was that like we weren't grinding, we weren't dancing, like, you know, Lansdowne's like a live music situation. Yeah. It's like not like that. We were all just like kind of hanging out dancing. And this girl comes up to him and like taps him on the shoulder and like says something to him. And I was like, oh, is that your girlfriend? He was like, nah, don't worry about it. And I was like, all right, whatever. And then like 30 seconds later, he like Irish goodbye me. And I was like, you weren't even that cute anyway. Like, I was just hammered. So like, whatever. Yeah. But like the fact that I got Irish goodbye by an Irishman is kind of a low.
I'm like, I was gonna say it's kind of iconic, honestly.
So is that my high?
Yeah, to say you got Irish goodbye by an actual Irishman, I don't know anyone that can say that.
Millie just sprinted in here and ran away. So that's a dog appearance for the week. My hero, this is so lame, but speaking of the dogs, okay, so you have a pet. People who have a pet will get this. Obviously, I lived in New Hampshire. I swear to God, we talk about sports on this show. Just give us a minute. If you are new here. But obviously, like as a pet owner, you'll do anything to make sure that they're happy, content, you know, whatever. Yeah. Jackson has the best vet in the whole world, and he loves his groomer. Like, I've been sending him to the same place since we moved from Alabama to New Hampshire. He's about to be 5. So like 4 years now, he's had the same groomer and the same vet. And I was able to fit him into both his groomer and his vet in the same day in New Hampshire. So I don't have to drive twice or find somewhere new here for him to go. And like, he's just so shy and like just such a weird dog that like, I'm just so relieved that he has people that he loves and like that take care of him and that love him. And I don't mind driving an hour and a half to take him to the vet or to get a haircut. So the fact that I could fit him into New Hampshire in the same day is that, I feel like that's worthy of a hero. Yeah. So Jackson is getting shaved for the summer on Wednesday. And he is getting all of his 5-year-old shots because Mans is about to be 5.
He's getting old.
His birthday is May 27th, and I feel like I'm going to fucking cry because he's about to be 5.
He's a Gemini too?
Dude, you know he's a Gemini. He is the most two-faced motherfucker of all time. Of all time. He loves you, and then he hates you 30 seconds later. Two-faced as fuck.
Our birthdays are only 3 days apart. That's so cute of us.
I know. Yeah, that motherfucker. I literally call him a Gemini ass bitch every chance I get because it's true. So we're gonna have Sarah's birthday and then we're gonna have Jackson's birthday and it's gonna be great. So that's my Hilo hero. If you listen to our March Madness episode, I just want to give you guys a quick check-in before we get into some baseball stuff because so many people on Twitter want us to talk about baseball. It's actually kind of fucking wild. So unfortunately, Sarah's bracket looked the best in the beginning. Like, I thought that Sarah was going to kick our ass. We said that Sarah was going to kick our ass because that's always the people who don't follow basketball are the people with the best brackets. Thank God Sarah is mathematically eliminated so that I don't have to feel like a fucking jackass. So thank God for that. Tyler and I are still in contention. Sarah's Final Four was Gonzaga, Marquette, Illinois, and Providence. So love you. See you later. But for a minute there, I was like, holy shit, Sarah's gonna fucking beat our ass. Tyler's Final Four was Duke, Indiana, Tennessee, and Kansas. So he has Duke and Kansas left. Mine was Gonzaga, Baylor, Villanova, and Kansas. So I have Nova and Kansas left. I win if Duke doesn't win the title, and Tyler wins if Duke does win the title. So either way, you people will be saying nice things about me, or we will be saying nice things about Tyler. So stay tuned for that episode coming after the championship. Just wanted to give you guys an update there because I feel like our March Madness episode got a lot of love for some reason. Like I was looking at the analytics, kind of crazy. The people around here love college basketball, but it seems that they love the MLB more as far as Twitter goes. Sarah, you have tons of MLB notes.
Yes.
What would you like to start with?
I'll start with, I don't know if you saw this, Home Run Derby X MLB has created. It is like, I put a note in here. I think whoever made this was like high out of their mind and it just like walked into me and was like, I
made it.
Fucking idea for you. So I don't fully understand it. I do understand it. It's the fact that it's played on 3 different continents. That I'm like, all right, this seems like unnecessary travel. But so it's 4 teams, the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Cubs, the Dodgers, up against each other in a version of Home Run Derby played in 3 different venues on 3 different continents. Each team will have 4 members, a former Major League Baseball player, a softball or women's baseball player, a player from the team's local development system, and then a social media influencer. So right now the Red Sox have Johnny Gomes. They have Paige Halstead, who I guess is a UCLA softball player. I'm sorry, I don't know much about softball. And Liv Cook, who is a social media influencer, but also a freestyle football soccer world champion as their social media influencer. I don't get it. I'm gonna be honest, I don't get it. And I know it's like the mounts like lifted. They're like, you have to hit certain targets. Like there's all this stuff. Like, okay, I understand this. Why can't this be in the All-Star game?
Yes. That was my first point was why can't we just add this to All-Star weekend, first of all, if it's going to be a thing. Second of all, this is so fucking unnecessary. I don't understand. And third of all, it's like, trust me, if anyone talks about growing the game, it's this motherfucking podcast. We talk about getting anyone and everyone involved in anything all the time. Like we are girls in sports. We are advocates to getting, whoever the fuck involved whenever, anytime. But it's like, I think that this did the opposite of what you thought it would do. Like, I think that they thought that this would get influencers involved and like former players and like whatever involved. This just seems like a pain in the dick to the point where the people who are involved in this aren't even going to want to talk about it because they're going to be doing all this bullshit on 3 different continents for no fucking reason. You could just add it into the All-Star game.
And my thing is like, okay, I understand their idea of doing it on 3 different continents is to get the game out to other people, like other places, like they do with the London series with the Red Sox Yankees. I'm like, do more of those. Like this is not baseball. They're not seeing the big star players. This is not like a regular game. They're not like, oh, let me go watch baseball. Now that I saw 4 random people.
Yeah.
A bunch of targets. Like, I don't know. I think like a lot of ways to grow the game, especially out of this country. But using a bunch of random people and then not random people, but in that context, they're kind of random.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say is
it's like this like made up game.
Yeah. It's like, if you want to talk baseball and soccer, in my opinion, are the 2 most globally available sports, globally the most talked about sports. Like baseball and soccer are everywhere because they're cheap games to play and can be played anywhere by anyone. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm sorry, but who the fuck in these countries knows who these influencers are and local development system people are? They don't give a shit. They don't give a single fuck. Like they would much rather have these like big names playing in this if it's going to be anybody. The fact that we don't even know who these people are, you think that other people in other countries are going to know who these fucking people are?
I'm like, I know who Johnny Gomes is because I'm a Red Sox fan. I'm like, I don't follow college softball. I don't. Liv Cook, I looked up on Instagram. She has like over 1 million followers, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't know personally who she is.
No offense.
People in other countries, if that's us, they're like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And it's like, no offense, like nobody knows who the fuck we are either, unless you're in Mexico. But like, I'm sorry, like I don't know who you are. And it's like, I know you don't know who I am either, but it's like, if you want to focus on growing the game outside of the US, it's like, take players from these countries or continents that you're going to be playing in and fucking highlight those people, you weirdos.
Like, put Ohtani on a tour by himself, give him a single home run derby, but then also let him pitch. Put that on every single continent and people will come. They'll go and watch.
Absolutely. I would. I almost sold a freaking kidney to go watch him when he was even remotely close to here. So I don't know. I understand. If you're going to listen to this episode later, you're going to listen to our chat with Kat Ellis, and she talks about how to get younger people involved in like the social media aspect and how older people probably don't understand like TikTok and things that are kind of progressing as far as a social media standpoint in sports. And it's like, I think that that's where they were trying to go with this, but I think that they just completely missed hard.
I'm glad that they are thinking to try and expand and try out new things. I just don't think home run derby X is it.
I'm there with you.
Pivoting away from that, shout out to whoever came up with that idea. I would love to smoke whatever weed you're smoking.
Please send it my way. I'll pay you whatever. I swear to God, send it.
I'm like, because that is fucking wild. So
wait, we should do a High Friday with whatever that is.
Yes.
Yes. Also, tweet us if we should do High Friday because we've been thinking about it. We just don't know our audience. So like, let us know. Do you guys burn?
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Pivoting to Red Sox talk a bit because people do want to hear, I guess, actual baseball talk and not just harping on home run derby X.
Yep.
Sam Kennedy recently said that they want to keep Xander Bogaerts, Boston Red Sox forever. Here's my thing. I do want Xander Bogaerts to be a Red Sox forever. Given how the shortstop market is and the fact we now have Trevor Story, we have Marcelo Meyer coming up. I don't want him as my forever shortstop. Mm-hmm. I love him to death. Like, he's one of my all-time favorite players. I think he's the like unofficial captain of this team at this point. He's been with this system so long. He's homegrown, whatever. And I do want him here for a long time. But I don't think it is worth keeping him in that shortstop position and shutting out other people of that role. I think there has to be some sort of mix up somewhere there. And also, if you're going to pay anyone, make it fucking Rafael Devers.
That's what I was just going to say.
Deserves the bag.
Yep, I have that written. Yep, that was what I was going to say. That was I literally have this written down on my show notes in front of me. That was my comment to you. Is it's like, don't get me wrong. I think that it's a great idea to keep Xander around if you can. We don't really. I mean, I'm not a Red Sox fan, but it's like I don't think that you should make that Mookie decision 2.0 to get rid of anybody. If you have to, if you can keep him here, keep him here. But for me, we talked to Gabrielle about this actually, I think, because it's like the first person that you should pay if you can is absolutely fucking Rafael Devers. Also, the U.S. Navy is calling me. Hello. Bitch,
don't answer.
I have asthma. You can't take me. But that's what we talked about with Gabrielle was that like if you're going to sign anybody from this team, it needs to be Rafael Devers, and he absolutely deserves any sort of contract that he's going to get from this team. And it's like, I love Xander. I think he's a great piece of this team. He's, like you said, kind of like a really vocal piece for the team. And I think that he kind of brings, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, I think that he kind of brings an aspect to the team of like this not macho man. Like he kind of just feels like he's very straightforward about who he is and kind of doesn't bring this like, well, it's just baseball and like do it dip and whatever. Like I think that he kind of brings like, not that he's feminine because I don't want to say that he's feminine, but I like the aspect of like femininity that he sort of brings to this team because he's not so masculine and not so gung-ho about all of those things. And I think that that's why he fits into this locker room and has like a voice that he has, is because he's not that like stereotypical kind of man's man for the Red Sox. And I like that he brings that to this team. If you can keep him around, I think you absolutely have to, because nobody in Boston wants to see him leave. But if you're going to pay someone, it has to be Rafi.
Yeah, I think that's top priority. Like, again, would love Xander to be here long-term forever. But if it came down to having to pick, and obviously it hurts to say this, but Devers is the future. We've been calling on people to like pay this guy, because especially seeing what happened with Mookie and seeing how everyone reacted to it, no one's ever going to get over that, to be honest.
Ever.
If you fumble the bag again with Devers, like I feel like everyone's like, oh, I'm not going to be a fan anymore. Like I actually would be like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm
I
done
agree.
here.
No, I would too. Like the thing is that we weren't hosting this show when the Mookie signing happened, but we talk about it all the time. When we talk about baseball, we talk about it. And it's like, I think that was the biggest slap in the face to Red Sox fans. And it's like, if you let that happen again, you're going to piss so many people off. And you are such a franchise where people are invested and they care. And it's not just in the Boston area. It's a global fucking scale of people who care about the motherfucking Red Sox.
Yes.
Don't fuck this up.
No, for real. The Red Sox have such a big, like, even international fan base that you do not want those people turning on you, one. And two, the fact that the, like, Red Sox fans fight about everything fucking constantly. If there's one thing everyone agrees on, it is that you want Rafael Devers locked up long term. And the fact that it's still, like, anytime Devers been asked about it, he's like, oh, like, I haven't really heard much. I'm like,
Well, you know, we talked about this last week with, like, and I'm not saying that this is on the same scale because I'm not. We talked about the Suzuki thing and how big of a deal that was for the Red Sox because it is global. And it's like, look at what happened with Shohei Ohtani. And it's not that Suzuki's on the same level because he's not. He never will be, never has been, whatever. But it's like the fact that so many people in the US, Japan, globally were tweeting about that is such a huge deal that I don't think that, I know that the Red Sox know that they have a global footprint, but I don't think they realize how large it is to the point where, like, we saw kind of the aftermath when they didn't wind up signing him. Imagine what's going to happen if they don't sign Devers. Like, it's not just going to be in Boston. It's not just going to be a local freak out. It's going to be like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Oh, I don't care where the fuck in the world I am at that moment. I will, like, run out of wherever I am with
a pitchfork. I'm not even a Red Sox fan, and I literally would be standing at the gates of Fenway like, the Krusty Krab is unfair. Mr. Krabs is in the air. Plotting his oppression. That's literally what would happen.
No, yeah. When I saw Sam Kennedy said that, I'm like, okay, great. Now talk about Rafael Devers. I don't know, that comment, I'm like, I do like to hear that, but that is not specifically what I want to hear. So we'll see. On the topic of shortstops is Trevor Story made his spring training debut, obviously at second base. I think he started off with a walk. He had a hit, looked good. You can't fucking watch the spring training games unless you have MLB, I think. So,
which I don't, but thank God my roommate does.
I'm like, I haven't seen a second of them, to be honest. But which in the past I used to, like, watch them all the time. Where now I'm just like go on Twitter. I see it in the highlights. It's fine. It's just spring training.
You're welcome, baseball Twitter.
Yeah. He made his spring training debut. He went after and he's like, we have a sick lineup. We have a deep lineup. I'm like, hell yeah, Trevor. I'm like, yeah. I'm buying into everything you're saying right now. I know you're just saying this because you just got a fat back from us. But I don't know. I'm excited. I'm super excited to have him in the lineup. And I think a lot of
excited
people,
too.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, oh, the Red Sox are like the fourth place team, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, have you looked at their lineup?
Yeah.
Not.
They're
like,
not.
That lineup alone, like pitching, poses more of a question mark. But if you're looking strictly offensively, which we've seen in the past few years, they have all the numbers all the time. They're always at the top of the league offensively.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's really inconvenient that the Jays are their competition. It's really inconvenient that that's the way it is because they're, in my opinion, the best team in baseball right now. We talked about this last week. I think for both of us are the best team in baseball prematurely. If they collapse, I think the Red Sox better fucking do something because if they don't, oh my God. And you know what? We've seen like this idea of like the super team collapse before just with the lack of chemistry, the lack of getting the bats hot.
Yeah.
Not so much in baseball, but with like other super teams, like in sports. That I feel like the Red Sox, if they weren't in the same division as the Blue Jays, it'd be theirs to run away with.
That's the thing. The AL East is so difficult. Whereas if the Red Sox were in any other division except maybe like the NL West, I'd be like, they would be at the top. Also, I guess the AL West with the Astros.
Also, I love you, Blake Webb. We don't have this in our show notes, but I love you. Thank you for coming back. You're my king. Okay, anyway.
But yeah, I'm like, other than that, pretty much any other division, I'd be like, yeah, the Red Sox are the front runners here. But because they have like the Blue Jays, the Rays, I don't know what the Yankees are going to look like. I think we talked about that.
I'm not scared of them.
They don't,
really
they don't really, they haven't scared me for a while. So I'm like, whatever about them. I'm like, still, it's a difficult division. So,
Sure.
which kind of leads to my next thing. The Sox starting rotation right now with Sale out, Paxton is not coming till I think it sounds like June. Evaldi, Pavetta, Tanner Houck, Wacha, and then Rich Hill in the fifth spot. I don't mind it. I
don't either.
Don't mind it. Like,
no.
Obviously, I'm in love with Nathan Evaldi, so I've always wanted him to be the number one spot. And I know people like Chris Sale technically is supposed to be, but I'm like, no, Nathan Evaldi's earned that. He is the ace of this rotation.
Yeah.
I love Nick Pivetta.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and Pavetta and Hawk are nothing to hang your hat on. Like, they are good, solid, consistent pitchers in this league.
I'm like, Hawk now has like, okay, he has a lot more MLB experience under his belt. I know by the time he usually gets to like the third go around, that's when things kind of start to look a little shaky. But I'm like, you know what? That can be fixed. He has all more experience than he did last year, and he looked fine last year. He's just going to get better. So I'm okay with that.
Yep. Agree. 100%. Like, I know that pitching is kind of what all of these experts are talking about right now, but truly looking at this rotation, there are so many teams, especially in the AL East, who are in far worse pitching positions.
The Yankees still, they have Garrett Cole, and Garrett Cole, look how he performed under pressure for the Yankees.
Yep. Or with Kermit the Frog next to him.
And I'm like, it's the same people in the AL East hating on this rotation. Like, all got beat. Like, the Red Sox were 2 wins away from going to the World Series, and they're up against the Astros, who are not even in this division. I don't know what the fuck you guys are on that you're like hating on. You all lost to them.
I'm right there with you, girl. Right there with you.
Rotation's almost worse because I had people like Garrett Richards and Martin Perez.
Dude, I remember, do you remember when what game was it that we were sitting on the Monster? Not to be like one of those bitches that were like, which game was it that we were on the Monster? But like, we're lucky, very fortunate. We know that we're blessed that we know people in this industry to kind of hook us up with tickets, whatever. But it's like, we were sitting there and we were like, he's coming into the game. Fuck.
Oh yeah, he came out of the bullpen. That's what it was.
We were sitting there and we were like, no.
And I think he did. He just let him like run after run.
We were both sitting there and we were like, fuck.
I think he's with the Rangers now. Maybe on like a minor league deal. There's no way that guy's starting. Who knows? Anyways, shifting from that to the Dodgers. This was per request to talk about the Dodgers. I know neither of us are big Dodgers fans, so it does
I fucking hate the Dodgers. I'm a Giants fan.
Like, this does hurt me to say, but their projected lineup now, the only new face is Freddie Freeman. So my question kind of just is like, how much of an impact do we think Freddie Freeman's going to have in this lineup? Right now, he's slotted into bat third between, I think it's Trey Turner and Justin Turner. I mean, I think everyone kind of knows how I feel, considering I was trying so hard to get Freddie Freeman to Boston. I think that's an instant upgrade, instantly makes them even better than they were before, and they already were fucking unreal. It's unfair. So,
dude, it pisses me off because, Mildred, if you don't know this about me, I grew up a Braves fan, being from Jacksonville, Florida. That was like the closest team to us distance-wise, and my dad's super Southern. Like, if you know me at all, you know that I'm Southern as shit. So I grew up a Braves fan, but then I wound up interning for the Giants affiliate in San Francisco, which is how I became a Giants fan and how I kind of fell in love with baseball even more, which is why I'm a Giants fan. So like, I feel very attached to Freddie Freeman because like I watched Freddie Freeman as like a child growing up. And it's like, to see him go from a team that I loved so much to my least favorite team in the entire league, and the fact that they're getting so much better and I have to play that motherfucker as a fan so many times in a season. And it's like, I think that even if you don't like baseball or you don't like sports, teams that you hate in MLB, Yankees, Dodgers, Astros, boom, they're done. So it's like the fact that not only I fucking hate the Dodgers more than anything, I hate the city of LA more than anything. And now as a Giants fan, I have to watch Freddie Freeman play for a team that I fucking hate and that is so good. Just like truly like just pull the knife out of my back.
Yep, that sounds about right as to what I thought you were going to say.
And that's how I feel.
Like, so
you're welcome, Twitter.
Dodgers fans, you're fucking lucky. You guys are so fucking lucky. And if you don't win the World Series, that's a failure of a year.
But they're not. I guarantee you that 60% of Dodgers fans don't even live or never have lived in the fucking city of Los Angeles. You posers.
It's the no. I don't want to say it's like the people that are fans of like the Cowboys, but then also the
or
Yankees,
like the Lakers.
The
it's like, well, I just like grew up watching Kobe. I like love Kobe Bryant, so I'm a Lakers fan. Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
One more thing on the Dodgers, kind of also tied in because I know we're both Brewers fans or big Christian Yelich fans, so this ties in. Cody Bellinger, Christian Yelich both had terrible years last year. Christian Yelich had a pretty down year 2022, but also I'm like, all right, he's coming back from injury. I'm not reading too much into it, but no, him and Yelich both were just horrible last year. And it's weird when you look back and see like the 2019 MVP race where those two were just going on it the entire time, like right up. It could have been either of them. It did end up being Bellinger, which I thought should have been Yelich, but regardless, do we think it was just a down year, or do you think those couple years they were just so good and now they've come back down to earth? Those were definitely down years, but like, do we think that's more around their regular playing?
Okay, so for Bellinger, yes, I feel like his peak is definitely over. As far as Christian Yelich goes, like as being someone who has watched him very intimately from the beginning of his career, considering he played the beginning of his career in Jacksonville, for me, it was just the second half of his year that was down for him last year. Like the beginning of his season, I thought that was fine. You know, he was on pace, whatever, like he was playing a good beginning of his year. But the second half of his season last year is kind of where I am like in question, I guess. So I don't think that like let me be clear. I think that Christian Yelich has peaked, but I don't think that from his peak, it's going to be that far of a downfall. After, I think that he's going to like kind of slowly decline. I don't think that he's going to go from this high to this low so quickly, but I feel like what we're seeing from Cody is kind of just going to be consistent across the board.
See, I think, okay, I agree with you on Yelich. Like, I think he did hit his peak in that 2018, 2019, like slot there. And those numbers that he was putting up, like those are impossible to replicate. I don't hold that, like no one can hold themselves to those standards. And then he had that season-ending injury in 2019, and I think that definitely threw him off course a lot there. And then just 2020, it was the weird shortened season, probably not the best season to be going back and trying to rehab from an injury from. And then, just last year, he signed that big contract, and it was just like, But I think the difference with Yelich and Bellinger, just from like what I've seen, is Yelich, you could tell it was more just a mental thing. Like, he was missing like pitches that normally he would like nail out of the park.
And he
like
said
easy.
that.
And I think it was just got to like kind of mental frustration for him. And I think now that he's had that time to like, okay, like reboot, he seems to be like in a better place. And also we always see it happen with after someone signs a big contract, they just kind of like flatline because you have all that pressure on you. And he's like one of the first people that the Brewers have ever like really committed to like that. So there's a lot of pressure and like such a long, like that's a lot for one person. Whereas Bellinger, when I was watching him play, I feel like his swing in general just kind of needs like an overhaul of some sort. Like something technical is not working there. He did seem to come more to life, I think, in the playoffs and started to figure things out a little bit more, but just kind of a little too late at that point.
He has the confidence.
Yeah. I think it's something technically more with him than like mental. Like I'm sure there was a mental aspect to it too, because I think Dodgers fans are a lot harsher than a lot of other fan bases are. So you would see people ripping on him all the time.
But it's the Dodgers fans who don't live in LA.
And so I understand that, but I think he just kind of needs an overhaul, like some sort technically. Whereas 100%. Yelich, I think, just needed a reset.
Yep. I don't hate that take at all. Any other MLB things before we get into some football talk?
Nope.
I don't have a ton of arguments as far as football goes. Just a couple of comments, and then one thing I would like to get your opinion, or two things I'd like to get your opinion about. First off, I want to talk about the news of the day / I'm sure when you are hearing this is Bruce Arians is out as the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I first of all have to say that this is my proudest moment of this entire fucking podcast, because I sent Sarah our show notes on Tuesday and she added this to our NFL section. I actually shed a tear when this happened because I was like, oh my God, Sarah wants to talk about the NFL. I was like, this is like everything I've been hoping and praying for my entire life. And it's not that Sarah doesn't want to talk about the NFL, but it's like the fact that she was like, Bruce Arians is out. I was like, holy fucking shit, Sarah is my soulmate. So I do think, so the thing for me is that like, it's not that he's retiring. He's actually heading to the front office. And like, that's kind of been like the thing of it, but I definitely think it is because of the Brady beef. And it's like, whenever you have the best player to ever touch the field, you're obviously going to kind of prioritize them and their wants and needs and who they want. And I just, for me, I'm kind of scratching my head about like Byron Leftwich at this point. And I do think that this is obviously because of Brady. And I made lots of memes about it, but I'm just also confused. Like if there's beef between Arians and Brady, but you're keeping him around, that's kind of, I think that it's just like, you're kind of doing that as a concert, as a courtesy to Bruce Arians. But it's like Brady obviously just wasn't aboard. So I don't know how to feel.
I like saw like the like quotes and whatnot from the press conference, and I know they like asked him about like Brady. He's like, I have the support of everyone on the team, and Brady was at the press conference like in the front row, whatever. I'm not reading that much into it. I feel like that's kind of just like a formality thing, because there is so much talk like, oh, it's because Brady doesn't like him, like all this stuff, like he's the one running the show. And then also by the sounds of it, it's like whatever position he has in the front office, it's just like kind of a no name. Like he has the title, but doesn't sound like he's doing anything.
I don't know. I'm curious to see how this plays out. I do feel bad for Bruce, just because like that sucks. The fact that like, I don't know, like that sucks in my opinion. And the fact that they're in such a crappy division, I don't know, like it just like kind of all stacks up for me that I think it's just weird. I feel bad for him. I think that if he wants to be a head coach, he could absolutely be a head coach in this league, obviously. So like, I think the fact that he like loves Tampa so much and kind of is like solidified there and wants to stay in the front office speaks volumes about him as a person. So good for him for taking the high road, I guess. My only other thing that I kind of want an opinion about before I get into some things that I was just excited about this week, the overtime rule for the NFL has changed. Both teams now get the ball, so we won't have another Josh Allen situation in the playoffs. How do you feel about the fact that both offenses now get a chance to score with these new overtime rules?
I like it. I think it makes sense. I think it should have been put into place a while ago. It's kind of crazy to look at even the original overtime, like how it was played this long. So
me too. Yeah.
I think it's good.
Yeah, I agree with you, because it's like, I feel like so often in today's NFL, I feel like there's no real way to, I mean, actually, maybe the Rams did a really good job of paying and having equal talent on both sides of the ball this last year. It didn't come in the beginning of the season, but with their signings during the season, I think that they kind of evened out their team a little bit enough to win a Super Bowl. But it's like, if you look at what happened with Josh Allen and the Bills and how they lost their playoff game earlier this year, like a lot of their talent is on the offensive side of the football. Like that's where the team invested their money. Both teams should absolutely get a chance to score to win. And I'm really happy with this. I think this is going to be great for the NFL. I think this is going to be great for the fans. I think this is going to be great for game consumption, and it's going to be the most fair way to do things moving forward. So I too am happy about this change. I think it's a fair and right thing to do. Couple more comments. Trevor Lawrence and Marissa Lawrence got another puppy.
I saw that. I did see that.
I literally
so cute.
cry. I'm gonna cry. Like, okay, this is mean as fuck. And Marissa Lawrence, I love you more than I love myself. I think that you are a fucking icon. I don't think their dogs are cute. I don't. I'm gonna say it. I'm not into the doodle thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair. There's a specific type of person that likes it. No disrespect to those people because I'm friends with a lot of them, but yeah, I get that.
Doodles aren't cute. I get that they're hypoallergenic, which is fucking lit, but they're just not cute.
I think they're cute, but they have like a cult following.
I'm not on the doodle vibe. I'm like, these dogs are fucking ugly. I'm sorry. I love the idea that they're hypoallergenic. As someone in the allergy community who is very loud about being in the allergy community, if I had to have a hypoallergenic dog, you best believe I would. They're not that cute, man. I don't know. The Jags also signed defensive end Arden Key. I think this is a great signing for the Jaguars. I think that they needed to absolutely add some pass rush to their game. Do I personally think that this changes the draft from being Kayvon Thibodeau or Aiden Hutchinson at that defensive end position at number 1? No, but the fact that they are the Jaguars, and I think that they could sign Evan Neal at that spot because of this signing, I think that would be a huge fuck up, but could I see them doing it? Absolutely. It causes me a little bit of concern, but do I think that they should just because of this signing? No. Sarah, I don't know if you saw Mac Jones' girlfriend's TikTok this week about the cookies.
I did.
I'm going to say something nice about Mac Jones. I love your girlfriend. She's so cute. That was so cute. As a gamer, I wish that someone would bring me cookies while I'm gaming sometime. I have to say, I've talked a lot of shit about Mac Jones. And I know that I've talked a lot of shit about Mac Jones. And I still stand by what I have had to say this entire time. But I will say that he is growing on me. Like, I do enjoy Mac Jones. I think he's a sweet kid. I think he's a nice kid. Do I think that he has hit his ceiling? Yes. And I've been very transparent about that this entire time. I think that Mac Jones' room to get better is very low, but I think that he plays a good role in the NFL and a good role for the Patriots. But I love his girlfriend. I love this TikTok. I thought it was really cute. Mac Jones is definitely growing on me a little bit, despite, some of the legal trouble and racial trouble that he has found himself in prior. He is growing on me a little bit. If you are a POC, I would love to hear your opinions about this. Please tweet me, please DM me, like anything that you have to say. I'm very open to those things. I would love to have some civil discourse. 2 more comments on the NFL before we get into lacrosse stuff. Speaking of trouble, the Browns obviously signed Deshaun Watson to a huge deal 2 weeks ago. We talked about this on the show already, how we feel about Deshaun Watson, all that stuff. Fuck Deshaun Watson. You know what you did. But the fact that the Browns might not only be having Deshaun Watson as their new it guy, the fact that they could be stuck with Baker Mayfield's fucking unreal contract is just the icing on the cake to me. The ultimate fuck you. I love it.
Karma, baby.
I feel bad for Baker Mayfield. I wish that someone wanted him. As girls, as people, we know what it's like to not be wanted. I can't imagine on that scale. But I'm sorry that I'm sacrificing Baker Mayfield and his feelings, but the fact the fucking Pats could get stuck with this is just so funny to me.
That's what they fucking get. Sign of fucking rapist here.
Okay, I want to talk about this for 2 seconds. I know that we're running low on time because you have to go to work and we have a bunch of stuff to get through. The amount of hate we have been getting on TikTok because of my comment is fucking unreal. I love the hate. I love the smoke. I love the beef. Fuck all of you. Go leave a positive comment on our Baker or our Deshaun Watson TikTok because people out here be fucking wildin', not understanding what it's like to be a woman. But anyways, my last comment about the NFL this week. Colin Kaepernick is the honorary captain for the Michigan football spring game. Go off, Colin Kaepernick. You deserve a shot in this league before Deshaun Watson is. Mic drop. Sarah, what's up with lacrosse?
Okay, so the big story this week is the NLL playoffs structure came out. It overlaps directly with the PLL season. It's not like it overlaps with training camp. No, it overlaps with training camp, overlaps with the first 3 weeks of the regular season.
Okay, I didn't know this. This is news to me. Holy shit.
NLL playoff schedule is set for 7 weeks, but they play in those arenas that primarily NHL and NBA take precedence in, so they get first dibs on those things. So the way it's spread out, it's literally like they'll play a game like it's the first couple game, or I think the first round of playoffs is just single game elimination, so that's fine. It's once you move past that, it's 3-game series, and it's split up on like one can be on a Saturday, then a Sunday, and then you go the entire week, and then you play the third game on like a Friday. And it's just,
so
like,
what do they do?
What do you mean? Oh, what does like the guys who play in the NLL and PL do?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like we talk all the time about people who play in the NLL and the crossover that they have with the PLL. Like, what the fuck is going to happen there?
I mean, at that point, it just comes down to their decision, but I don't know why anyone would choose to play those first 3 weeks of PLL, because with the PLL, the way their playoff structure is, like, even if you do prefer to play field, like, there's a chance of, like, unless you're on the one team that's not going to make it into the playoffs, you're going to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But think of guys like TD Erlin, like a face-off guy, where face-offs are so much more important in field than they are in box.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's on Toronto, like there's very likely chance they're going to be in the playoffs. He's probably going to miss some time. The Redwoods are like fucked, and you have like guys like Westberg, Mac O'Keefe, Eli Gobert, like Trey Leclerc all on the Seals. Bandits is entirely the
and the entire
offense.
fucking team. I was just gonna say the only person the fucking Redwoods have left worth a shit is fucking Sergio Perkovic.
I'm like, the Chaos lose their entire offense. And also think about the fact how likely a Buffalo-San Diego matchup is. Those are the two, likely. Like, I would say probably most PLL-heavy teams on terms of, like, big name guys. And you're just missing out on those guys. And, again, they're not going to be like, oh, well, I want to go play the PLL, because NLL playoffs are a lot more difficult to get into because they have 4 teams. Hello.
Hi.
So what happened?
Okay, so this is fucking nuts. So this morning, like, you know how like sometimes I'll like wake up and there's like maintenance men in my fucking living room?
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought that like that was what was happening again. So I like went out there and there's like a guy in my living room. He's like housekeeping. And I'm like, we don't have a housekeeper. Get out of my apartment. Yeah. And he's like, no, housekeeping, like trying to force his way into the apartment. I'm like, listen, get the fuck out of my apartment. So I texted our neighbors, because we're obviously like in this like huge issue. Okay, whatever, fine, the dogs can stay. Like, we're in this like huge fight with our landlord about like that clause in our lease, because he's raising our rent 80%. And I was like, I can't believe that this just happened to me. And she was like, oh my God, like I have like security footage of her from her house, like screaming at this guy who broke into her house. She's home alone and naked in her living room. And this guy is like just coming into her apartment, like further and further into her apartment. And she's like screaming on the Ring camera. And, he like leaves, and she's like, oh my God, the same thing just happened to me. Like, I don't know what to do. And so I emailed our landlord and I was like, hey, like this has been happening the last few months. Like, you need to give us notice if people are coming into the apartment. This like girls live here. This isn't okay. And she, I guess, like emailed him as well. And he was like, I didn't have anybody coming today, and neither did the maintenance crew. He was like, I suggest you call the cops. So we call the cops, and they're here for 2 hours, because I guess every apartment in Massachusetts has like a lockbox on the front that has like either a key or all the codes to get into the apartments. Ours is broken, and the key and the codes are missing. And so like, I guess like the cops are trying to figure out like which of the because our maintenance men are illegal immigrants. And like they didn't want to rat their guy out if it was the case, because the guy on the like Ring camera screaming is like very clearly Hispanic, and like he had the code to get into the apartments. Like the locks aren't broken, like he very clearly had the codes to get in. And our landlord, like they're saying they don't know anybody. Our landlord's saying he didn't send anybody. But I guess what happened was the apartment above us in this building do you know what split space is? I didn't know what split space was either, but I guess it's like an app where you can like short-term rent apartments, and someone's moving in there today. And I guess through split space, like they send people to clean the apartments, and he's just been giving our codes out willy-nilly to fucking people. And like that, they broke into our apartments this morning, like not knowing where they were going or what apartment they should be in. No knock, nothing, just going into people's apartments. And he just had the balls to email me back and be like, nobody's been in your apartments. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. Like, you haven't submitted any maintenance requests. I'm like, you were just on the phone with the cops and decided to send that email after we figured this out as if I wasn't standing there listening to you on the phone with the police and your maintenance man admitting to this.
This is the landlord?
Yes. I literally was listening to him on the phone when they figured that out with the cops and the fucking maintenance man. And you're going to send me an email lying about it as if we're not in a legal battle, you fucking dumbass. I have a police report.
Holy shit.
I know. Well, I was talking to the cops and they were like, oh, you saw that I was wearing like a Jacksonville, like JFRD hoodie. Like, I'm not an idiot. Yeah. And they were like, oh, like, are you from Jacksonville, whatever? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, I'm surprised you didn't like fuck this guy up. And I was like, that's the same thing my mom said. My mom was like, if you were in a state with stand your ground laws, that guy would be dead and it would be on your landlord.
Yeah.
She's like, that's a liability. That can't happen.
Oh
so
God.
If I hurt that man, it would have been our landlord's fault. And I almost hurt that man. I'm surprised my neighbor did it because he was like pushing into the back of her apartment.
What the hell?
Mm-hmm. Everyone on Twitter is like, so what's the story? So Tyler, if you want to throw this in, welcome back. Yeah, I guess we could just start it with what happened. So I guess, or maybe I don't know. We were talking about lacrosse.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Saturdays and Seltzers. Today it's, I guess, maybe Celsius and Seltzers and black coffee and Seltzers, Saturdays, whatever. I don't know. I'm fucking exhausted.
Yeah, I'm so out of it right now.
I know. So welcome back. Yesterday we had some technical difficulties and had a bunch of stuff to get through. So we're just gonna run through it really quick while we have our coffee this morning. I've already dealt with the police. Happy April Fools. Happy birthday, Tyler. Did not know it was Tyler's birthday.
Happy birthday, Tyler.
I didn't know he was lactose intolerant. I feel like we need to like send him something.
We do need to send him something.
I know. I'm going to like search through our old text messages and get his address and we'll send him vegan cupcakes. But okay, yeah, we were talking about the PLL NLL crossover and how that's kind of like a problem because there's only 14 weeks in the PLL season.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we can just like hop back in right there. I'm looking for it now, but like that I don't understand. Like we were talking about with the Bandits, like what are they going to do?
I really don't know because I'm wondering how that works because obviously they have guys that are like, are you going to be able to sign guys from the player pool and then just like release them? Like, is there a limit on that? I honestly don't know. I'm sure there is like plenty of restrictions or like guys like the practice squad or whatnot. But yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. And also that's just like, I feel like you need that training camp period to like bond with your team and like get to like, that's the best chance those guys have to getting to know their teammates because it's not like they're with each other during the week.
Yeah.
They just travel and see each other on the weekends, like practice day of.
I didn't even think about that. The fact that like, that's like such a time where, I mean, and that's such a crucial time for any sport, any team, like those first few weeks that you have together. Like, luckily, like the Whip Snakes and teams like that don't have to worry about it because they're all the same guys. They've been playing together forever.
Yeah.
We were talking the other day about how the Whip Snakes have signed up pretty much most of their team through 2024. So like, I don't worry about teams like that. I worry about teams who have new talent, young talent, rookies, like those sorts of things, getting these kids acclimated.
Yeah. Like I'm thinking of like the Cannons who just like, they were the newest team last year and then they brought in a bunch of new guys. Like they've been so active during this like off season. Like none of those guys have met each other unless they like played with each other in college or something for the most part. So if those like some of them are playing the NLL, they're just going to show up like if they make it to say the finals, like they're going to show up week 3.
Yeah.
And then also crazy. Like the Swarm, like that's like Lyle Thompson's the Star Cannons player. They have Shane Jackson. Like imagine guys like that being out.
Yeah, it's just, and also like, I don't want to deal, and I know that like lacrosse is like a growing sport, but my thing is that I don't want to deal with some of these teams' fans who like have probably these guys who are in the NLL being like, oh, it's a Mickey Mouse year, like it doesn't count. We missed like the first 3 weeks. Like, no, I don't want to deal with that shit. Fuck that shit.
I know, and lacrosse fans, I don't want to say they're annoying.
Yeah, Brad.
I feel like there's like so many different sectors of like, because you know, lacrosse Twitter is so small, but there's like the diehard NLL like Canadian guys that like are like fuck the field league, like all this stuff. And there's just like the whole like PLL, like you have like a 16-year-old like douchebag who like would say like fuck your Mickey Mouse like championship.
I just don't want to deal with that. Like, I don't want to I want a good season. I want a full season. I want everyone to play with their players, and I want the right team to win. I just don't want to deal with the like, oh, well, if, you know, so-and-so is here for the first few weeks, like it'd be different. Or like we were one game off because of the NLL. And I really don't want the NLL to catch any flack because like, this isn't their fault either.
I know, it just like sucks the way like with their arenas and stuff. It really feels like they're trying so specifically, like, there's only so much you can do unless you want to like play your championship in like high school gyms or something.
Yeah, it's true. It's scary. I don't know. Weird.
Sucks. On the same topic of the NLL though, the Bandits are the first team to clinch a playoff spot. That's a shock to no one. They clinched the home field advantage.
Is that an April Fool's joke?
Clinched home playoff last night because they had a game against the Wings that they obviously won.
As they should.
Yeah, they defeated the Thunderbirds last weekend, Saturday, then Sunday in Halifax and in Buffalo. So, the Seals could have clinched last weekend too, but they lost to the Warriors, who they've now lost to twice. Which, whatever. Obviously, they're going to make it. They dominated the West.
Yeah.
That just kind of sucks. They couldn't do it sooner, but
yeah. We did watch Panther. I see you have Panther City notes.
Yes.
We both watched Panther City at different bars in Boston this weekend. So shout out to Boston for supporting Panther City. I'm not saying it's because of us, but it's not because of us. And it's not a coincidence that we were at two different bars and that game was on. And I'm just saying,
hyped when I saw that on. So fucking hyped. But yeah, they extended their win streak to 5 games now. They're in 4th place in the West. I think they're right on the heels now of the Warriors. I want to see them in the playoffs so fucking bad.
Yeah. Well, so, okay, we obviously the playoffs are like right around the corner in a way. I saw that I haven't had a chance to read your article over this week yet, but I know that you said you talked a lot about goalies. Do you think that like that's going to be the difference maker through the stretch of the season?
I think so there's definitely some guys, I did get into it in my article, like some guys I feel like started off kind of slow or have been up and down, and now they're like finding their footing right now, which I feel like is the best possible time. Like the Riptide, they have like Orleman, who's a rookie, and you never see rookies get that kind of like playing time that he has, but he really has earned the starting role, and it looks like he's a lot more comfortable there now, and obviously it's the backing of his team and whatnot. And like Panther City, I feel like they kind of have the same thing. Like these guys are all just like, we talk so much about like offenses clicking and figuring it out. I feel like a lot of goaltenders now are starting to figure it out, which is going to be huge.
Yeah, for sure.
And what else? Oh, Riptide beat Albany 15-6 for their first back-to-back wins of the season.
Fuck yeah, baby.
Go Rips.
Go Rips.
I think they're playing twice this weekend.
Well, I'm staying in, so I'll probably be watching it.
I'm like, I know, because we do like a lacrosse flash, like pick them. And whenever I see the Riptide, it does not matter who they're playing. I just pick them and hope that it will, like, and I think I put them down twice, and someone was like, it's not going to happen.
Okay, well, you just don't get it.
Then the last bit big of like NLL news, Kyle Jackson was released by the Thunderbirds, which is a very surprising move by a lot of lacrosse fans. He was released by Halifax. That definitely upset a lot of people. Dawson Theed is activated. Kyle Jackson went to the Wings.
Did they say why?
I think it was just he didn't really fit into their offense, like because they do have like so many big like offensive guys. And I think he was kind of just getting lost in the mix, and there's more opportunity for him in Philadelphia. But it also just kind of sucks, I feel like, to probably go from Halifax where you're like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to be in the playoffs. Like we're going to make a decent run at it. Where the Wings.
What if Blizz Reardon stops playing goalie in the PLL?
Imagine the best goalie in the league. Just as like, nah.
I just want to like rip stick on the field with the boys.
Just want to rip some twine.
But like for real though, like, cause like so I don't know if we talked about this when we got back from Philly.
I remember seeing Blaze Reardon and finding out that he was not an NLL goalie, and I almost shit myself. I was shooketh to the core.
You were shooketh.
I was like, hello? He's like, because I literally was like, he's like the best goalie in the league. Like, he was literally MVP. Like, and you're not, hello? So weird.
Yeah. I remember when I found that out too. I forget what it was. I honestly don't think I even figured it out until like I was doing preseason stuff for Lacrosse Flash for like NLL. And I was looking at the rosters. I was just going through the depth charts and like looking at the names. And I know Philadelphia has a lot of PLL guys on it. So I wanted to see like where they all were. I was like, what the fuck is this? Who the hell is this Higgins guy in the net?
Yeah. Literally, because I was like, oh yeah, like I get to go see Blaze Reardon too, like play goalie sick. And then I get there and he's like running around and I'm like, whose man's is this?
He's like setting picks.
Yeah. I'm like, who are you? Dual threat.
Seriously.
Dual threat athlete.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm interested to see how the Wings, like where they end up. I feel like if they do make the playoffs, they're going to be out pretty quickly. I'm not going to lie, but who knows?
Like, yeah, that's my, okay, so obviously I feel like most people want to play in the playoffs, but it's like, do you think that there will be anyone who decides to like leave?
I don't know, because I thought about that too. I'm like, what about the guys who like I don't want to like call them out by names, but there's certain guys I feel like that play so much better in the PLL, and I think it's pretty like clear that they probably enjoy that more. Like they just enjoy playing field more than box, which whatever, everyone has their preferences, but I'm like, would a guy like that be like, fuck this, like I want to go play where like I'm like this all-star?
Well, I was more so thinking like the game check difference is probably really different between the PLL and the NLL.
I never thought about that. I don't know how much of a difference it is.
I feel like it has to be, because I feel like the PLL just has so much more money. So like, no offense to the NLL, like love you guys, like forever, but like I feel like the game check difference, like there's probably not a playoff game check difference between like regular season, I'm assuming, for box lacrosse, but I would assume that these guys probably make more money from the PLL.
Yeah, I really don't know, because I've like tried looking into it's so hard to find information on like how much like they get paid. I'm like, is it like per game, is it per month, like, and then obviously there's all the travel costs. Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see how this unfolds. But I mean, I have zero predictions. I don't know.
Moving on from lacrosse, got a lot of hockey. The biggest news this week: Bruins signed Brandon Bussi.
More like Brandon Bussin.
I'm like, either way, this name was made for us, and I'm so glad that he's on the Bruins.
Yep. I was like kind of pissed off about it at first, because I was like, all right, like the kid in Providence is fine. Like Sway is obviously the future. The Bruins have said that, like fans feel that way. It's been broadcast that way to the fans. Obviously, Allmark I don't think is like long term, so like that's fine. But my concern is that this kid is also so young. So are they trying to make competition for Swayman, or are they just trying to like make sure that the future is young? I'm just confused there. I don't know.
Maybe it's like, because obviously Swayman is like, all right, he's solidified his spot as the starter now. So the chance of him ever going back to Providence, unless he like completely just like drops off or something, are like pretty slim. So what they have like Kyle Kaiser down there now. Mm-hmm. And I don't know honestly who else they have for like goalie prospects. So maybe
I don't know who the backup is.
Yeah. Maybe they're just trying to get a couple more in there and maybe just develop, see how they all go, because they all are so young that if anything, like trade someone down the road.
Because he is 23 and he came from like Michigan Tech or Western Michigan.
Yeah.
I don't know. Especially I was confused too, because it's not like that's like a huge hockey school. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I was confused. I mean, I like the signing for us and the fact that we get to make jokes. And I'm not a Bruins fan, but if I'm a Bruins fan, I'm kind of scratching my head.
I just kind of saw it as like, oh, adding on another goaltending prospect. Then with the Bruins and their development, I'm like, who knows? This kid could be gone in like years from now, like traded away, or
they'll hold on to him for far too long.
Yeah, I would say, or he'll be in Providence 5 years from now, still.
Yep.
To be
It's
called
true.
up.
I do see that you have this in our notes, and I am glad that you want to talk about it because I feel like we have to. That Leafs game was fucking miserable. I turned it off.
I will say, after last night's game, I have all the notes about last night's game now before it happened. I feel a lot better about that game now because I did, when it was happening, I was like obviously out, and I was like explaining to Jordan, like, it's not even like the Leafs are playing out of their mind right now. The Bruins are just having a dud of a game, and I think that happens to every
They were
team.
due for one.
Yeah, that's the thing. They've been playing so well for like months now. Like, it's been a while since they've had like one really, really bad game. It's just very unfortunate that bad game came, one, against the Maple Leafs.
Yep, that was my point.
And two, the fact that add on to like, okay, the offense wasn't clicking, defense wasn't there, and then Swayman just had a bad night.
He
and
did.
He hasn't
it
had
was
a
so
bad
sad.
night in so long.
Months.
And again,
that's
just
I
the
got
fact
it.
it's the Maple Leafs that it made it worse.
Yeah, that's the worst part is it's the Leafs. But I got in like a huge fight with someone. I don't remember. I think, it was on Xbox. So someone that I was playing with is like a Bruins fan, and they were like ripping apart Jeremy Swayman, and I'm like, you obviously like don't think you like hockey, but you don't, because nothing is wrong with Swayman. Like, he's had a fucking phenomenal season. Like, his home games, like he just like the fact that it wasn't his fault. Everyone has a bad night. Look at all the fucking bad nights that Tuukka Rask had. Like, shut the fuck up. Everyone's due for one. And the Bruins have been playing so well. It sucks that it was against the Leafs, but they were due for a bad game. It fucking happens.
Also, when you look at how the schedule is, like, especially down the stretch, like the Bruins, remember the beginning of the year, it was like they were going 5 days without playing. And now you're playing a game every other day. They've been traveling, they've been all over the place. That does take a toll eventually.
Totally.
And we talked about that, like, oh yeah, that March, April stretch is going to be tough because they're playing so many games in a short amount of time. And I'm not saying like that was the reason why or like excuse me, but it just happens. Like, it really, like, it sucks. Like, that was a tough game to watch. But then last night they bounced back. So I'm not concerned at all.
No, I don't understand. I feel like, once again, Bruins Twitter, very divided. I feel like there's a side of Bruins Twitter that's like us, and they're like, they're due for one. It's fucking fine. Like, the trades that they made are working out. It's fine. And then there's people who are like, the fucking roof is on fire. The Leafs just like ripped us apart. What are we going to do in the postseason if we're playing like that against teams like this? It's like, chill.
Yeah, I was sad. I was upset in the moment, but I'm like, whatever. This is not how they typically play. They're going to bounce back from this. They're a very skilled team, very professional team. It's whatever.
Yeah,
and then they did bounce back, and they gave fucking Devils a beatdown. So
yeah, I mean, it's the Devils, but still, it's like the thing for me, and I've said this before, and I'll say it forever. My problem with Boston is that it is championship or bust mindset all the time, that I think to the point where sometimes fans can be toxic to organizations and players here, because the expectation is championship or bust, to the point where, like, if Swayman does have a bad night, like, that kid can't get online for days.
Oh yeah, I would imagine a lot of Boston athletes just don't even look up their names. I know, like, Chris Wagner said, he's like, I deleted Twitter last year during the postseason.
He's such a cutie. I love him.
I was like, whatchamacallit, on Twitter last night during that 8-1 Bruins game, and Jake DeBrusk had one of his best nights of his career, definitely probably the best night of his season. And I saw it was a Bruins beat reporter, I won't say which one, but he was like, because DeBrusk made a hit and like knocked the Devils player over. All this guy had to say was that the first hit that Jake DeBrusk ever made that actually had any impact on someone? And I wanted to just reply, be like,
yeah,
any of this game.
I would have just been like, yeah.
This is the best game we've had all season, and you're nitpicking that. And I'm like, yeah, he did something good. And he did a lot of things good, but yeah, he hit a guy. It was a great hit, whatever.
I also think that people here take it personally when people say they want out or they request a trade, and they're unable to like separate like the fandom and business.
But I'm like, you're a beat reporter. That's literally your job. Like, it's one thing when Bruins fans do. I'm like, your job is to be like objective and professional, and I'm like, you clearly just hate Jake DeBrusk, whatever. But I'm like, you can't put that out there if you're being paid to be objective.
See, we are taking this personally because we like his girlfriend, even though she has no idea I exist. You come for Jake, you come for us, bitch.
Also, he was a little angel to Lauren the other day. So,
Lauren! I love Lauren.
Jake DeBrusk stands.
Yeah, we should get Jake DeBrusk. Jake DeBrusk belongs in Boston t-shirts. Boston is for everyone, and so is Jake DeBrusk. Jake the Bussin'.
That was still my favorite thing.
Dude, I love that has become a thing.
I know.
I don't know if you just heard my hip pop, but that was sexy.
I did not hear that.
Whew, my whole ass hip just like. Also, before we move on, I know that we were just saying that you shouldn't talk shit about Boston athletes because they go through it, but I am going to talk shit about Connor Clifton for a second.
Oh, I tweeted the other day, I never tweet negatively about people. I like straight up tweeted, I was a little drunk. Yeah, Connor Clifton off my fucking team. I'll drive him to the airport myself.
It's true. I've been saying this forever. I will talk to you about this off the record, but you know who and I were talking about this, thinks he's a great person. Nah.
I don't like his style play. I don't think it fits in this
organization. He's just not productive.
He like makes big hits and everyone's like, oh, whatever. But then everything else is sloppy. He does all these turnovers. He makes stupid plays.
He's not productive. I think, was it you that tweeted that stat earlier this week that was like he hadn't scored in like 31 games or some shit? Fucking unreal. Unreal.
I'm glad though. I was like, okay, after this game, because Clifton's needed to be benched for a while. So I'm glad that Maple Leafs game was just so horrible and it was so obvious how poorly he was that now Mike Riley is up there. He's getting his chance again. I thought he looked great last night. People are so harsh on Mike Riley. I'm like, when he's good, like he really stands out defensively. It's just when he's not like on his A game, he just kind of gets lost in the mix. And I feel like people are like, oh, he's not doing anything out there. He's a more productive defenseman than Connor Clifton by a country fucking mile. So,
mm-hmm. And you know what, Connor Clifton? Providence is close to Quinnipiac, so see ya.
Just one more note on the Bruins before we move on to the other NHL stuff. Laughlin, I had this in the notes before, was making his NHL debut last night with Craig Smith out. He had like 50 plus family and friends, and like BC guys there. And he scored his first goal in his NHL debut. I think that made him the 5th Massachusetts native to score in his Bruins debut.
Hell yeah. We should just only draft Massachusetts people.
I'm pretty sure that is their idea.
Like, all right. Bobby T to the Bruins.
Did you see? He's going to the Rangers.
No, I didn't see that. Oh.
Drafted free agents love the fucking Rangers, which I know technically Bobby T, I think he's from Long Island and he grew up a Rangers fan, so like it makes sense. But I'm like, come on.
I thought he was from Massachusetts. Is he from Long Island? That sucks.
Yeah, he's from Long Island. I think he just played at UMass, but yeah, he's signed with the Rangers.
Boo.
Speaking of the Rangers, they're so good. I will say their goaltending is their one biggest weakness. Other than that, so fucking good.
Yeah, because we talked about this a couple weeks ago because I was like, Sarah, are the Rangers actually okay?
Good. And I clowned. Remember when we were like, oh my God, Jack Studnicka got called up and I had to go into my midterm. I was like, oh, it's just for fucking Frank Petrano. Like, whatever. He's like all of a sudden this superstar top 6 forward with the Rangers, which he's actually another Massachusetts native that scored in his NHL debut with Bruins. But anyway,
fun fact.
Yeah. He's a top 6 forward with the Rangers. And I'm like, I like clowned it like, oh, what a stupid, like useless pickup. Just works for them. They have Panarin, Kreider, Adam Fox, who's nuts. I do love Adam Fox. I hate that he's on the Rangers, but I fucking love Adam Fox.
Rangers, but I like some of their players, so it sucks. I
don't know. They're good. They're so fucking good, and I would not want to face them in a playoff series.
Rangers fans are just insufferable.
Oh, I work with a bunch of Rangers fans, and I know they're going to hear this. You guys are the fucking worst. And like photoshopping my face onto Rangers. And like, no.
Oh
You
man.
guys, but like,
That's awesome. I work with Rangers fans and I know they're gonna hear this. You guys are the worst. That's iconic.
no, I know they listen to this because they always clown on me. And like anytime, like, oh, Adam Fox better than Charlie McAvoy, superior law. Like, all right, you know what? I loved them both, so why do we have to bring McAvoy down? Okay.
1v1 me, snipers only.
Yeah, fuck the Rangers.
Yeah. This is an anti-Rangers podcast.
Which is ironic because I think I've gone on 3 different Rangers podcasts now over the last year. So like, am I like low key supporting the Rangers, like, and not even meaning to? Maybe.
Probably. It's probably the SNS pod boost. We do have a pod boost.
We do.
We had one athlete on the show. They went to play in a championship game, so I'm fucking rolling with it. You can't take that away from me. No more athletes ever again, so we can just say the SNS pod boost that no one's allowed to have.
Yeah. Agreed.
Heard. Also, should I announce our guest for next week?
Yes.
I will do that at the end of the show, so stay tuned. But we do have a guest next week, and I think the people are going to freak out.
Yes.
But yeah, do we have other? Yeah, we do have other hockey stuff. Red Wings. Yes. Oh my God.
Did you see that? It was so funny.
Did you see my note? Literally, you guys, I need you to read this, but before you read what this work, so the Red Wings have like this like crazy workout plan schedule thing. But my favorite thing about it is that it's sponsored by Planet Fitness.
There's not a single person playing fitness that can do any of this shit.
Pizza Fitness, no way. All right, read it. Let's
everyone's
go.
Talking about, so, okay. Detroit Red Wings Workout Wednesdays presented by Planet Fitness. This is not a joke. The Red Wings posted this to their Instagram story. It's a workout you do on Wednesdays during Red Wings games. If the Red Wings score first, you have to do 5,000 jumping jacks. If they record 25 plus shots, which that's not a lot of shots in a hockey game, 7,500 walking lunges. And if they win, 10K sit-ups.
Dude, Wings fans are going to be jacked. But the thing is, Pizza Fitness, are you fucking kidding me?
I'm like, are they like training people to like recruit them for the team? Who the fuck is capable of doing this? Which everyone's like, oh, 10,000 sit-ups. I fucking hate walking lunges. I don't think I could do like 50, 7,000.
This should be our combine. Sarah, we found it.
The Red Wings Workout Wednesday.
Should we do the Wings workout like on an Instagram live?
I'll like throw up.
I will not. 10 minutes in, I'm going to be like eating a donut and doing crunches. I swear to God.
I would say we try it because there's
I think
no
we
way
should.
we would ever even come close to finishing these.
Peak comedy. It's also on my to-do list today to look for places to take us golfing.
Yes.
So, but I do think, yes, I think that we should do the Wings. I think we should do the Wings workout.
Down.
Do we know any Wings fans that would like do it with us?
I only know a couple of Red Wings fans, and none of them are from around here.
Tough. We should, I'll try it. Fuck it. We should go. Yeah. We should get a day pass for Planet Fitness.
What do you say?
Wait, you go to Planet Fitness?
Yeah, I go to Planet Fitness.
We should do this at Pizza Fitness.
My Planet Fitness just a bunch of old people and then like these little like high schoolers who like go there to hang out.
Sarah, I'm not kidding. I will do so much pre-workout and like recruit people to do this with us. I don't care if you're 95 or 15. I think we should. Yeah. All right. Fuck it. We're doing it. I think your last hockey note was Clayton Keller's injury, which was fucking weird.
Yeah, that was scary. I don't really have any comments on that. I just hope he's okay. Obviously, he said his season's over. He's hoping to be back first day next season, but that was scary.
I hate that it was against the Sharks too, but it's also like, I don't even understand how it happened because like I saw his leg get like folded up against the boards, but it's like, it looked like he almost just like hit I don't know. If you haven't seen this, go look it up. It was against the Sharks, what, like 4 nights ago by the time you're hearing this?
I think it was, oh yeah, probably 4 nights ago.
But like, it was the weirdest. It wasn't even like, it was contact, but like, just, I don't know.
I don't know. It was I feel like definitely a freak injury, but it was scary.
I got to go watch it again because the first time I watched it, I was like eating my breakfast while watching it. And usually I don't get grossed out easily, but I was like eating a hash brown and like thought I was going to like puke my hash brown up. I don't know. Ugh. It's just gross. It kind of reminds me of, do you remember when Gordon Hayward had that really gross ankle injury that everyone just kept playing on like a loop?
Yep.
That was so gross. But I watched I watched it in slow motion at least 50 times.
I remember everyone tweeted it like 5,000 times.
I know.
No way could avoid it.
I do think that was kind of when we saw like a split as far as like TV stations and stuff like that, like not playing replays of injuries. Because I feel like that's the last time, because like I feel like now, ever since that happened, people have kind of like, whenever someone gets injured, they don't show the replay. They don't do any of that anymore.
Which I'm glad. I hate that stuff.
I'm watching this injury again. It's just like, please, if you haven't seen this, please like go look it up and watch it. Cause like, I see that he's got him with this. Yeah. It's weird. It was like contact, but not contact. And the way that his like knee just kind of hit the board.
Yeah.
I think that
it must have been like the angle he was going at or something was just like the worst possible.
Yeah, because you see the stick like is like wrapped around, like he's not like it could have been a hooking call, honestly. But like, I don't know. It's weird too for me because like watching it back, I feel like the trainer like knew right away because usually trainers don't run on the ice that quick. And that trainer was fucking out there.
Yeah.
Wild though. So scary. I hate injuries, but I also hate when like it's against like a team that I care for. Like that injuries suck, man. It's just, ugh. So I think that's all we've got for NHL stuff. You wanted to talk college hockey.
Yeah, I just have one quick note about college hockey. It's not really surprising. I think everyone saw this move coming. Albie O'Connell's out as the BU head coach. I was like, RBJ, Pandolfo, like, that's what I thought. But then people were like, oh no, David Quinn could be coming back, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't hate that. I just think it would be kind of weird. Like, again, I wouldn't hate him to come back. I just think Pandolfo's kind of earned that spot now.
I agree with you. I also think that there's going to be a lot of kind of turnover in the Hockey East as far as coaching this year because the Northeastern coach, BU, I think, and I don't know anything. So this is just a guess. I don't know. And I have no insider information. I just could see UNH making a coaching change after this season. That's just my opinion. I think that would be great for the school. I love the coaching staff over there, but I personally would not hate to see that happen. So I'm just curious, like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of turnover as far as like Hockey East coaching.
I'm like the only ones that I would think like obviously UMass, Amherst, not going to make any changes.
Yeah, obviously.
I don't know. But I would say Lowell. No,
Lowell's staying. Yeah. See, so my
like BC, Northeastern, like BC, I feel like it's due.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Isn't Jerry retiring?
Is he?
I think so. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
You might be right.
Maybe. I think that was kind of what was chat about. I don't know. But my reason for Mike Souza is that 5 years ago, Dick Umili was like one of the best coaches in the Hockey East. And it's like he retired. Mike Souza came in and I love Coach Souza. I think he's awesome. But I don't think that he's a good fit for where college hockey is trending, especially at UNH, because, you know, he's the kind of coach that's like, no facial hair, no hats in the weight room, like just very much one of those like militarized guys. And I don't think that they let him go sooner with the lack of playoff growth, because the last 2 years were the first years that he had full like recruiting classes of his own playing, instead of like some of that tail end of Dickie Millie's recruits. And there's just been no progress. I don't think that they're like getting the recruits that they want for the seasons coming up. And it's like I said, love Coach Souza, worked with him for 2 years as far as like being a media personality, but like I wouldn't hate some sort of turnover there. And I'm sorry to say that if you're Mike Souza, if you're Mike Souza's family, if whatever, I'm just from a media perspective and someone who loves hockey, I think that kids in today's culture want to play for that cool coach, that coach that's like, yeah, you know, you can have a playoff beard, you can wear a hat in the locker room. Like, yeah, lets those kids be themselves and express themselves on and off the ice. And I don't think that Mike Souza really fits into that culture.
Okay. So, I'm like, I don't know enough about UNH hockey.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't know. I think that we could probably, especially, this is something I didn't think about until just now either. There is not a single Hockey East team in the Frozen Four. I know. And that's a problem.
Sucks.
That's a problem, because like, think of all the fucking talent here and how much you send to the NHL. And it's like, your reigning champion is a Hockey East team and you don't have one team back.
I really thought they were going to return.
Minnesota's wiping the floor with people.
That was tough to watch.
It is. So obviously moving into closing out our show, pop culture shit of the week. Bruce Willis is Sarah's pop culture shit, and I am so sad about this.
It's so upsetting just to hear like how like he's been kind of like treated, and like no one knew this, like one of the biggest like stars over the last however many years, and just was going through all this and no one knew. And so sad.
Well, it's like scary because like I don't remember what he's suffering with. I can't remember what it's called, but I looked it up, and like the fact that like, did you see that he's been having to wear earpieces?
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you don't know what's going on with Bruce Willis, basically he has this, I think it's a genetic disorder.
I think so.
I think it's a genetic disorder where you can't understand language or can't perceive language. Like it just feels like everyone is speaking a foreign language to you. So he's like, he can't speak, he can't like, and like, he was like having an earpiece in his ear for people to tell him what his lines were in movies. And it's like, he's just such an icon that it's like, I feel like I grew up watching Bruce Willis movies, and this is just so sad, the fact that this is how he's going. It's not even like his choice.
Mm-mm.
It's really sad.
I don't know. I feel like it got lost in the mix of all the Will Smith shit. But...
It definitely did. Yeah, for sure. My pop culture shit of the week. Welcome back to Saturdays and the Kardashians. A bunch of unfiltered photos were posted from the Oscars this weekend of celebrities. Kourtney Kardashian had one of her photos with Travis Barker that kind of went around the internet. It was very unfiltered, natural skin texture, very clear that she has, you know, like back acne and face acne, and just is a very real human being. And I think that people and young women needed to see that. And the Kardashians are upset about it, that those photos were posted or whatever. But like, fuck that. Like you guys have profited billions of dollars off of exploiting women and saying that their bodies and their faces don't look good enough because you guys can afford all of this plastic surgery and injections and, you know, whatever. And it's like, you have sold to the modern American woman that this is how you need to look. But in reality, you look just like the rest of us and you're mad about it.
See, I'm like looking at it from like just a business perspective. Like, obviously the Kardashians are like basically their own like entity now. I'm like, wouldn't you want to buy into like, yes, like I'm a real person, like someone just like you, like people are more likely to want to like invest in you and follow you if they're like, okay, this is a real person. They struggle with the same things that I do, whatnot. And instead it's kind of insulting because I feel like the same thing happened when Khloe Kardashian had that like picture go around of her like unedited in like a bikini or something, and like was like threatening to like sue people for posting it. I'm like, well, what's wrong with looking like that?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people that love you or like follow you or fans of you look exactly like that.
I think she looked great in that picture. I was like, what do you mean this isn't edited?
I don't get it. I really don't. I'm like, weird. The way, especially, I don't want to call out like Khloe specifically, but the way she edits herself, I'm like, you look better just normally. You don't even look like a human in this.
Well, yeah, and it's like, I remember when those photos of Kylie came out too, when she was like going to her car, and people were like, whoa, she like looks so different. Like, she's just like the rest of us and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know, like, I'm getting to the point, I've never felt bad for the Kardashians, but now I'm like kind of becoming a Kardashian hater because like they're pissed off about shit like this, but you're the reason that the beauty standard that's out now exists, and you're complaining that people on the internet are ruthless towards you for the image of women that you created. This is your fault. You are not the victim. You guys have been selling your fucking products to people saying you'll look like this if you use this or do this or whatever. And now you're like, well, the internet's so mean. Like, I just have this beauty standard that I have to uphold. You created that fucking beauty standard,
you are the ones that put that in.
Yep. I have no sympathy for you at all. None.
Like, because for years, I feel like it's just now starting to settle down. It was like, oh, you have to have a big butt, blah, blah, blah. I'm shaped like a fucking door, okay? Like, flat.
You got titties?
On my back, it's just like straight, and I'm like, whatever. This is just, I don't care. It never bothered me until like all of a sudden I'm like, every single girl on Instagram has like gigantic fucking ass. I'm like, I'm just like bored. But I'm like, you are the people that put this into place. And now you're like, oh, woe is me. Like,
yeah, the internet is so harsh about your body image. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Tea party segments, I feel like I'm going to talk about Russell Westbrook, and then we can talk about Will Smith, because I feel like it was very obvious that both of our tea parties this week were going to be Will Smith's, who is not talking about fucking Will Smith. I just want to say that I have zero sympathy for Russell Westbrook either. I don't know if you saw, I know that you don't really follow basketball, but you kind of see like the clips of like the funny shit that happens and like the drama of basketball. Did you see what happened with Russell Westbrook and that reporter the other day? So there was like a post-game press conference, and a reporter asked Russell Westbrook what was going on with the team, like why the chemistry wasn't working. And he was like, he freaked the fuck out on this reporter, like got up, stood up, walked to the door, and was like, well, you tell me what's wrong. Like, you're the reporter, you know everything. You tell me what's wrong. And he goes, I'm just trying to do my job and figure out like where you think the chemistry is not working or something like that. And Russell Westbrook was like, get bent, and fucking walked out.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I do not feel, and a couple weeks ago, I know you probably didn't see this either, you might have, but he was saying, so people have been calling him Russell Westbrick because of like, he's just been like bricking shots off the fucking rim for however long now in LA, which is big part of their struggle, is that this team didn't think that they would have all of these all-stars and it be an issue. Yeah. But he was saying, this is causing my family trauma. Like, my kids are going to school and they're being called like Westbrick, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. I'm so sick of Russell Westbrook. So I tweeted and I was like, I have zero sympathy for Russell Westbrook in all capitals.
I did see your tweet. I didn't know what it was about. Obviously, I know who Russell Westbrook is, but
fought with a reporter, like fought with this man. It was unreal. But obviously the topic of the week is Will Smith. My first question for you, do you think that this was staged or not?
I don't think it was staged, no.
I can't decide, man. I don't either, just because of like everyone's reactions. But at the same time, like if you watch it back, like just the way that he hit him was such a Hollywood hit.
I don't know.
Like it felt like that Batman meme.
I like think of how like the Oscars like try themselves to be this hoity-toity like thing. And I feel like they don't want that kind of attention. And I know they are upset with how things have played out because the Academy is a bunch of pretentious pricks. So. Yeah.
Well, so the conversation has kind of been two things that I've heard. I don't know about you. So one, I heard that Kanye is banned from the Oscars because of like something he said. And obviously the other conversation is that should he have to give his Oscar back, and should he not be allowed to the Oscars again because Kanye is in for just words. He didn't even physically assault anybody.
I didn't know Kanye wasn't allowed at the Oscars. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I know Will Smith put out that apology and whatnot, and was like, I acted emotionally, like all this stuff. But I think they're holding Kanye to a certain standard, you have to, at the same point, hold Will Smith to a certain standard, especially if he just got on stage and assaulted someone in front of the audience and the entire world.
Yeah. I just never saw this coming from Will Smith. And honestly, kudos to Chris Rock because he handled that like a fucking champion.
I fucking love Chris Rock. Everyone was like, he's so irrelevant. This is the most relevant he's ever been. I'm like, I think Chris Rock's funny.
Can we talk about how Jake DeBrusque, because of all the Will Smith drama, took Mia to see Chris Rock the other night?
I was like, I'm so curious if they had tickets this whole time, because I know
Definitely
some people that went and they were like, my tickets are $40, and then now they like spiked up to $400.
Someone sold their tickets for $2,000.
And then they got mad because they're like, oh, he didn't even talk about it. I saw it in the news. I'm like, well, yeah.
It's probably a legal issue, you idiots.
I don't think he's allowed to talk about it. If he is, it's not going to be the first time he gets his jokes off at a random show in Boston.
No, but he has like 2 more here, right?
Yeah, I'm like, if anything, he's probably going to make a whole Netflix special out of it, as he should. Get the fucking bag out of it.
Yeah, people are saying that this is like the most iconic Oscars moment ever.
I would say so. I mean, not that I follow the Oscars closely. I know Tyler does. So Tyler, if you know any Oscar moments, let us know.
Happy birthday,
That's all
Tyler.
I can think of.
The weirdest thing for me was, is it Jaden? I think it's Jaden. His tweet after, he was like, that's how we do, or something like that. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Also, I learned that like a donor for the Oscars is an alopecia medicine company. So that's the only reason, because now people are talking about alopecia so much and stuff. That's the only reason that I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know.
sus.
I'm very interested what Jada Smith is. I'm like, we have talked about Jada Smith, like just society has so much over the last year. She's like, yeah, I fucked this guy. I fucked this guy. All I'm married to Will, and he was silent. And Chris Rock makes this joke. And I get, like, you probably didn't know that she had alopecia. I think it was still not a good joke to make. But I'm like, it's not like he, like, tore apart. You call her G.I. Jane, which, if you've seen, I'm like, that's not
kind of
horrible.
a badass movie.
Yeah, I'm like, nice joke, honestly.
I'm curious to see where this goes. I don't know. I like Jada Smith, and now I'm just free Will Smith from Jada. I think that she's the issue.
Get
she's
away
toxic.
from each other.
Yeah, she's toxic as shit. Yeah, I'm not team Jada. Sorry.
I listen to her like Red Table Talk thing sometimes. I do like that. I like when they have good guests on and stuff.
Yeah,
and I think in that setting, that was the first time I watched it actually. And then they also had Jordan Woods. They have a lot of good people. But I like her in that setting. Don't think those two should be together. Obviously, who the fuck knows what goes on? I don't know. But from the outside looking in.
Yeah, on the outside looking in, I do also kind of respect how throughout this entire process, they've kind of treated Willow and Jaden like adults. Like, I do appreciate that about their parenting. Like, they were very open up front and like had like civil discourse about all of it, and like kind of didn't keep their kids in the dark, which I think is really bad for kids sometimes to do when like your parents are going through stuff. So I do respect that about it. I just like, I feel like Will did this because he thought Jada wanted him to.
Well, yeah, you're probably right. Because when you saw the clip, like at first he was laughing about it. And then it was just, oh shit, she's actually mad. Let me go storm the fucking stage. Which, I get it. It's heat in the moment. He said he got emotional. I'm like, you couldn't have just done that later.
Breaking news. We have breaking news. High Noon came out with new flavors for Tyler's birthday. No, Tyler, don't make this an April Fool's joke. So our intern just texted us and, oh no, there's a pool pack? Guava, kiwi, peach, and lime. Holy shit.
That better be real.
Breaking news. Oh my God. So yeah, okay. So all right, we got to find these. Where are they? I need that. We need that.
We need those immediately.
Those in the tea flavored. Did you see the TikTok I sent you last night? The Bud Light teas have 3 different flavors.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I sent you a TikTok. But anyways, this show is going to be so long. I have one tweet of the week. Do you have anything?
I don't.
Okay, so my tweet of the week, Some a-hole tweeted, if you're a single woman over the age of 24, it's over for you. A woman at her peak fertility is 23. After this, she loses 10% a year in attractiveness and desirability. Men also become increasingly repulsed because they innately know older women have less time to breed. Statistically, a woman has dated the highest quality man she can hope to secure by age 23. This is because high-value men select for high fertility. If she fails to secure his commitment and rear children with him, she will need to settle for exponentially lower status men with time. Women are hyper-deflationary asset class. One, I've received, yeah, that's what this man said. And I just said, ugh, thank God, because I don't want to be desired by you or any man, let alone any man that feels that way. So thank you, sir.
Well, if after 24, that's when it all goes to shit. I've got 2 months. So.
Yeah. Yep. You got 2 months to live it up, sister.
Now.
Yep. I don't give a shit. I have a couple closing thoughts. Sarah, do you have any? Okay, cool. Closing thoughts. USA soccer is off to Qatar for the World Cup. Congratulations to them. Excited about that. Definitely gonna have to have like, it's in the fall. So maybe like, cause lacrosse will be over, we can have like some watch parties or something like that. Just because Matt Turner will be playing and that's sick. But yeah, so doing that soccer to come. If you are watching this for our YouTube premiere, thank you so much. I think we are going to do this every week. And our guest next week, Boston Pride captain Mallory, will be joining the show to talk about winning the cup back to back. So we will see you guys next week for that. Love you guys so much. Keep on sipping, y'all. We'll see you next week.
Yeehaw.
We did
it. This episode's gonna be so long.
Yeah, and I forgot to like put our boxes on top of each other. So sorry, Tyler. All right. Yeah, I think that's all I got.
Yep, all I got.
Enjoy your semi day off.
Bye. Adios.